5 minutes away. Langford Park, Reese Terrace is where I played. Albert Junior High, that was up the street while we were using our feet. We started using the beat. We were called two-tone. I was one MC with two DJs. Jay, my nigga T. We thought we was invincible as you could believe, but we were kids being kids. Living in the 80s, thought we were grown, but the world was very different. Lights came on. These streets, they would evict us. Sent back home to not become statistics. But some couldn't miss that leg, and so they fell down. No pops around, but the shots around. We gave it all, but couldn't afford more bound. Some applaud now, but never knowing how we made it up out of there without doing a bit. Wow, our city, the place of where I come from, that old shit story ain't my glory. Tell me what that sound like. It's just me. The city beautiful. This is my story.
Orlando has long been known as the City Beautiful, also known as the city with a sound.
Live on stage,
The sound.
Orlando!
So, is they ready?
You mean to say that's the best you can do?
Hip-hop is something you live.
Almost anybody could do better than that.
You know? Okay, the sound of Orlando!
Yo.
Knock this down like it's supposed to be.
On your FM dial.
This is trying to hold this up.
What's going on, party people? What is going on? Welcome to the Sound of Orlando show. All my people out there, man, I love y'all, man. It's always an honor to do this show. I didn't know what the show would look like. I just knew we needed it, man. And, you know, it's crazy how car accidents and near deaths can bring something out of nothing. And this is, you know, this is basically the fruit of a situation which I always wanted to see our people being discussed and celebrated and introduced to the world in a real way. I didn't know I would be the one to do it. This show is really a lot more selfless. It's about my city. I never thought I'd move back here. Don't even know how long I'm going to be here. But I felt our city deserved it. Growing up here and dealing with, you know, all of the gates that were put up against our people, our artists, and not having the sense of pride that it's okay to come from here and to be from here. I wanted this show to be about that and describe what it was for me. You know, a kid from Thornton Park, downtown, who went to Howard Junior High, who grew up next to Reese Terrace, who went to Medina's and Cumberland Farms, who went to Edgewater, and the stories and the things and the people that I've met and all these great people that, you know, really their story deservedly needed to be told. And I just wanted to be a part of the answer, if you will, a conduit, to allow our people to feel like it's okay that, yeah, you ain't got to be from the West Side. You ain't got to be from the East Side. You ain't got to be from, you know, the South. You ain't got to be from downtown. We're all family here, and we got a story to tell, and the world needs to hear our stories. You know, and so this was really how this show even came into fruition, if you will. And I didn't know what the end would be like, what it would look like in the end. If anybody has talked to me over this past time, I've asked genuinely, what is it to you guys? Like, what does this show mean to you? Like, outside of my name being at the end with Rome, because I'm with you people, you know, I wanted to feel like it was okay to say the sound of Orlando, our city, our story, our sound. And so, like I said, it has been an honor to have done this show. to have had all these great guests, all these great people, um, people that I admire, that are legends to me, um, that I can't tell my story without telling theirs. Um, so um, I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad that you guys tune in every time. I'm glad that you guys support our city. I'm glad that the world has gotten introduced to some of the movers and shakers in our city. It means everything. Um, this is a labor of love. Um, you guys don't realize uh, the battles you have to face to even get to this point, to where you're listening to my voice. It's not easy. Um, nothing that is great is supposed to be easy. Um, so just want you to know we love you guys and we appreciate everyone that's ever tuned in. And we appreciate all of the great um, stories that have been told. And so our next guest represents that sound of Orlando, that voice, that rumbling, that tone in our city. He's been setting the tone for a long time out here. Most of the time I was out in Kansas City, and I didn't know about this guy, and I was, I had the pleasure of meeting him when I got back, and a lot of great people, and I got to meet him, and I seen what he was doing out here, and I was like, man, this would have been so dope, having this, available when we were doing our thing out here prior to me leaving to Kansas City. But nonetheless, it is what he is doing, what he's providing the city is a reminder of how dope we are when we say, let's get together. How important we are as a people when we look at our numbers as power. How important our contributions are when we just do what we came to do, and don't take no shorts. This man embodies all that. He is that sound of Orlando. Um, he does the No Borders art competition. I've been honored to go to several of those, and just the positivity, the energy that is there. People all kind of supporting the arts together. I think it's just a beautiful thing of what he's doing. He's an MC. He's a producer. He's an intellect, man. He's a creative. He thinks. Part of our Boricua culture up in the city. Shout out to all my Boricuas out here. Like that paint our picture well out here. He represents hip hop to the fullest. To know this brother is to know what real is in this city, and I'm honored to have him on the show. Give it up for my brother from another mother, Luis Rivera. What's good?
Thank you, bro. Hey, thank you. That's an honor for you to say those beautiful words. I really appreciate that. But bro, kudos to you, man. Yo, kudos to you, bro. All flowers to you too, brother. You know what I'm saying? And just thinking about everything that you were saying prior to what you were saying, what I thought about was I remember us speaking when we first met that you were gonna do something like this, and you had a lot of different I guess chains that you can kind of pull together. And then this came about, and which was pretty dope. But then I saw how it kind of just grew and grew and grew. And I know how selfless it is. And I know what you mean. You know what I mean? I know exactly what you mean. So and I know that it's hard work. And my cousin actually told me not too long ago that you have to be selfish first to be selfless.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that kind of resonated pretty well. You know what I'm saying, man? Because we do have to do something very selfish. You know what I'm saying? Which is for ourselves before we could do something for everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you followed that route. You know what I'm saying, man? The photography that I did when I first when I stopped really rapping and started doing photography, it was a lot because of what you just said. I didn't see too many. I saw a lot of dope MCs rapping and stuff like that, and I saw some people taking pictures, but I didn't see nobody like really going out and taking pictures of everything and stuff like that. And I remember kind of almost making it my business to go out every time that you know Cubby would have an event, or you know saying anybody, you know what I mean, you know, Jay Johnson would have an event, and I would go out there and I would photograph the hell out of these events. You know what I'm saying, man? You know, Matt Ills would always bring me out. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Matt Ills. And you know, I saw that it needed it. So I liked taking pictures. I love taking pictures, you know. And then I started doing the videography and videos. But aside from all of that, kudos to you, man. Kudos to you, brother. You know, man, yo, for real, kudos to you. I don't know much about your life because we had just met and we don't know too much about each other. You know what I mean? But I'm
Right.
pretty sure that you've been through some hardship, obviously, like what you just said. And you know, hip hop got you here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hip hop got me here. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop gonna keep on taking us where we need to go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you and I, you know, tocayos. I don't know if you know what tocayo mean. You know what I'm saying? But we boy Luis. We
Right.
both
Right.
Luis. So
Lodo.
yes, so, you know what I'm saying? So it's really nice to for us to share a lot of the same kind of you know what I'm saying?
Journeys. Right.
You know, journeys and attributes, you know what I'm saying? Which is pretty
Right.
dope, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And you know, like I said, I mean, and that's amazing, bro, because you know, from that conversation, which I don't remember us talking, but that's crazy. I know what I wanted to see, but we all reluctant soldiers in our own journey sometimes. We want to see it. We just don't want to have to do it. You know, like we don't want to do it.
Well, that's where the selfish part comes out of because we take away from the things that we love the most. Like I always tell everyone, I take away so much from my family and wanted to be with my family. You know what I'm saying? To do these shows and stuff like that. That's selfish of me sometimes. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But
Absolutely.
but to be selfless, you have to be selfish, and it just resonated when he said that. It was kind of
Right. Right, man. And you couldn't have put it better. You couldn't have put it better than that. We all are required. Our purpose is greedy. And sometimes you know you have to make the hardest decisions to make things happen. Not everybody shares your language,
yeah.
and you find out when you get up on a new language. You know, throughout all our lives, we all have those moments where the people that knew you the most no longer understand you because you're not even speaking the same language anymore.
It's you know you actually get cornered into only speaking to only a certain amount of people that understand
Right.
a passion that you have for something, or something that you don't want to give into, something you don't want to give up, something that you've been striving for forever, whatever it may be. And to be honest with you, it's called content now, but it's really art. You know what I'm saying, man?
It's all art.
It's all art. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks that it's being used to sell something now that people just can't enjoy certain things. You know what I mean?
Right. But none of that shit matters at the end of the day because, you know, we heard that phrase from Dave Chappelle, they should have never gave you niggas money. Like this they're giving us the technology, and yeah, a lot of it is used for shameful or dumbass shit. But for a lot of the others, which is the majority, it and when they realize it, it actually is a way to basically say you exist. It's a voice. It's a sound. Because, you know, for a lot of, like you said, artists, part of what makes creatives, which I'm a creative, I know you're a creative, part of what makes our journey the hardest is that nobody knows most of the story. They only see the end result when we've done everything we needed to do. Like, right? Like they didn't see you becoming an MC. They see you as an MC now. They didn't see how long it took to paint that mural. You know, what they needed to go through, you know, how many fences they needed to jump, how many cops they needed to run from to paint that mural. They just see the mural. You know, all these things that, you know, that's what makes the story so great for people like yourself and others, because it gives insight to people who may be thinking in this self-absorbed, in this self-gratifying world where everything is like that, that there's some things that are constant, that don't change. And those are the plights of artists, people that go out here every day and put it on the line. They fight the silent wars. They're told they're not good enough, or they don't have enough money, they don't know enough people, or, you know, you had your time, or your time's up, or, you know, all of the things that people hear on a regular basis. And we're not even talking about their own internal battles. You know, why am I dedicating all this time to this? You know, I'm not seeing really, I'm the only one seeing anything from it. You know, and so it is difficult. All praise is due to God's artists, because they're the ones that give it all, and at times they're only thanked when they're dead. They're not thanked while they're here. They're thanked after the fact, after they don't crucify themselves or jumped off a bridge or you know, or gone into obscurity. You know, we then give them the look and say, you know, yeah, we see what you were doing now, and that's fair, because even that is a pressure. Even that is it sometimes can be tough.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, like you said, there's there's a person that can go to sleep at 9 o'clock. You know what I mean? And this is another phrase that my cousin of mine told me. You know,
drop them gems on them, brother. Drop that shit.
It sucks. And he said it too. He was just like, you're cursed. You know what I'm saying? You're cursed with doing what you have to do. Now you can quit. You know, you can quit and just stay with your 9 to 5 and you know what I'm saying, and be like me, or you can keep doing what you're doing, but you can't go to sleep at 9 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? You can't go to sleep at 9 o'clock at night. It's you know what I'm saying? It's gonna take time for you to do what you really want to do. You know what I mean? And we're entrepreneurs. You know what I'm saying? You know, we're trying to set apart. You know what I'm saying? From the normal, or from the average, or if you want to call it. We're trying to create content. You know what I'm saying? And and we're also trying to create a life for ourselves that doesn't come along with that, because we don't demand high dollars for the things that we do. We just do what we do. You know what I mean? Right. You know, and it's crazy because there's a thin line between, you know what I'm saying, behind all of that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, hip hop's not ours anymore. You know what I'm saying? You know,
drop your shit, bro. Talk your shit.
You know what I'm saying? When I was a kid, and I used to, you know what I'm saying, buy these tapes. Me and my older brother, shout out to my big brother, Piano. You know what I'm saying? He's the graffiti artist. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, it used to be he and I, and we used to buy these tapes. We used to buy them, and you know, back in the days, hip hop, you know, these tapes weren't coming out, you know, every week. They'd come out, you know, very sporadic. And, you know what I'm saying? And if you weren't in the now or in tune, you didn't know when things were coming out. You know what I mean? So, of course, the magazines had a lot to do with it. But also, if you knew, you know, the Music Cut, Tony Touch, Music Cut, and Destroy, you know what I mean? If you knew those dudes in these places, they would tell you, you know, wait till this day, this is coming out, or this is coming out. You know what I mean? And, you know, we kind of found out different ways, you know what I'm saying, how to get this music, you know what I'm saying? So we felt like it was ours. It was mine. Hip hop was mine. You know what I'm saying? If you weren't listening to it the way I was listening to it, if you weren't reading about it the way I was reading about it, if you weren't in the booklets, you know what I'm saying? If you weren't, you know what I'm saying, looking behind the tapes and reading who produced what and all of the shout outs.
The
And
proverbial do the
sometimes have the
knowledge.
lyrics. If you didn't,
Right.
if you didn't do that, then you can't walk in my shoes, and you didn't walk in my shoes, and you didn't walk in my brother's shoes, and you didn't walk in a lot of people's shoes. You know what I mean? If you didn't record Babito, you know what I mean? If you didn't record, you know what I'm saying, any underground station, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Then you really didn't walk in our shoes. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw that it just got so big and so out of control and it wasn't mine anymore, it was a little heart wrenching almost. I just explained this to my daughter about her being a fanatic about this one guy that she's been a fanatic about him for a long time, Anthony Ramos, and she's been listening to him for quite some time and watching him, and he's about to be really famous by this year. And I told her these same exact words that I'm telling you guys. I told her, I said, he's not yours. You know what I mean? And you're gonna feel upset when you see people loving him more than you love him, and they don't even know him the way you love him, the way you know him. You know what I mean? And I told her when I finished explaining that to her, I said, that's how I felt about hip hop. And I told her, and but then to smoothen everything out, it's not. It wasn't meant for us. It was meant for everybody.
It is.
But at those moments, again, if you didn't break dance, if you weren't trying to break dance on cardboard, if you weren't, wearing your hand-me-downs to try to look cool like a rapper, you know what I'm saying, dog? Then you weren't of that. You know what I'm saying, dog? And we watched people grow, and we watched people later on start connecting. And saying, like me and my brother, I say me and my brother and I, because we saw it. And me and my older boy, my boy Joey, saying, big up to Joey. You know what I mean? We watched these things, saying, happen. And we're like, it slipped out of our fingers. It's not ours. It's not ours. It turned out to be okay because, saying, we're part of it in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? But at one point, it felt like it was ours. You know what I mean? I was buying tapes like crazy. You were not buying tapes. You know what I mean? I was studying this music. You were not studying this music. You know what I mean?
Well, it's kind of
not
like,
you per se, but
no, I got you. It's kind of like, almost paraphrasing, it's kind of like being introduced to God at home. Like that God becomes your personal God, which is part of the God experience. And then there's that, fellowship God when you're out with your people. And then there's that other God amongst those that need to hear about God. Like what made hip hop so beautiful is that it was also like a deliverance. It was a message. Like we couldn't wait to share it. We couldn't wait to rock that radio, let everybody hear what the fuck.
Bro, if man, shout out to my boy Spanky too, man. Spanky and Quinn and the Dead End Boys up at if you didn't have the latest shit, dog, you were behind. You know what I mean? But that's with anything. You know what I mean?
But shout out to my Radio Raheems though. My Radio Raheem.
No, shout out to my boy Raheem as well. But yeah, the big Radio Raheems.
The Radio Raheems, they didn't care what the fuck was going on. They running that fight to power all day long. They didn't care.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you, one of the things that really got me into hip hop, a really, really good friend of mine, Joey, he recorded a Public Enemy album. I think it was Welcome to the Terror Dome, right? And they played the album on an underground radio station the whole entire night. And he stood up the whole entire night and recorded the whole album. When he brought it to me, I was like, you got this last night? The whole album?
Wow.
Yo, bro. Yeah, since then it was underground radio stations for me the whole time, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy, bro.
You should have brought that up, man.
It was a time.
Welcome to the Terror Dome, dude.
Yeah.
That song.
They played the whole album.
The whole album, right? Fear of a Black Planet.
They
right.
played the whole album, Fear of a
Right.
Black Planet. I was like, holy fucking shit. How are they going to play the whole entire album?
Look, the man made It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. And that album, they could have disbanded, retired, all died. And we would still celebrate that. And then these motherfuckers turn around and do Fear of a Black Planet, which you can't even get past the first two songs. Fight the Power, Welcome to the Terror Dome, Chuck D in Infamy, Flavor Flav in Infamy. That solidified that they could have made whack songs for the rest of their lives, and we would be out there in hammer pants celebrating. We love you, Chuck. Like, anyone makes Welcome to the Terror Dome is like the equivalent of making Purple Haze, or the equivalent of making Name a Beatles track or Thriller. Like, you make that. Shout out to the Bomb Squad, Strong Island, Jesse Jazz. You already know. You make that noise, and that noise is musical. Like, I mean, that was the soundtrack of all of us. Like I said, I was stuck on Yo Bum Rush the Show for a long period of time. I couldn't even listen to anything else. All I cared about was that Def Jam and that Yo Bum Rush the Show. Like that logo and Yo Bum Rush the Show. Too Much Posse. Public Enemy #1. Cancel Christmas. I'm done. I'm good. I don't need to hear nothing else.
You know what's crazy? So look at the era that we come from. You know what I mean? So the era that we come from has, like, from Chuck D to a Rakim to a Big Daddy Kane to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
All of these greats, you know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of times when, after a while, and I'm not even talking about this era right now. I mean, I'm talking about like a little bit right after that. Like, let's say, for example, this goes back to me saying that hip hop stopped being ours. When you have your Vanilla Ices and your people might hate me saying this, but even your MC Hammers, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
but to be fair to Hammer, there was two hammers. There was the troop hammer, the troop wearing hammer, where everything was about troops. All my troop wearing motherfuckers know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then there was the Pepsi, Taco Bell, Adam's Family hammer.
Yeah.
In which,
aside from, and you're absolutely right, and I wouldn't disagree. But I'm not gonna listen to that if Rakim is still rocking.
Right.
I'm not listening to that if you know what I'm saying, if you know what I'm saying, Chuck D is coming out with something. I'm not listening to that if Nas is about to come out. Like,
that's not fair.
Even Outkast. I'm gonna tell you something about Outkast. When Outkast album first came out, in our neighborhood, I say from in our neighborhood, I ain't gonna say the whole New York City, but I can imagine there wasn't too much music coming out at that week, those couple of months, let's just say. I can't remember, maybe a month. And I saw it. I remember me and my brother, we like, we're gonna get this one. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? We don't know nothing about Outkast. You know what I mean? We know that they're in the magazine. We know that you know what I'm saying, that they got a few songs, like maybe like one single out, you know what I mean? But we jumped on it. You know what I mean? Blew our fucking minds. It was dope as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that wasn't the consensus.
But it wasn't
the consensus.
But let me tell you something. But it still wasn't something that we played over and over and over again. Obviously,
right.
Maybe we didn't understand it, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But lyric wise and everything like that, I mean, we're talking about common sense. We're talking about a lot of MCs, you know what I'm saying? Even the hieroglyphics at that time, you know what I mean? So there were a lot of MCs, so I wasn't listening to no MC Hammer. So if you came up to me being like, you heard MC Hammer's new song, I'm like, it's not ours anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm
Pedro,
saying? You
Can I
know,
be fair? Can I retort? Can I be fair?
and no, well,
Um,
this is not shitting on MC
no,
Hammer.
no, no, no,
I'm
ninguno,
not
ninguno.
bashing on MC
Right.
Hammer.
We're not shitting on
You know,
MC
yeah,
Hammer.
because
Shout
at
out
the
to
end of the day,
Oakland
everybody has
and that
different
whole
tastes.
movement. Yeah, shout out to Oakland, California, that whole
Yeah.
movement.
Everybody has their taste, dog.
Right.
I can tell you things about your favorite rapper that I don't like, and you're not gonna like me for it.
Right.
So I don't do that, you know.
But no, I'm glad you said Hammer, because for a lot of people growing in the majority of the United States,
Mhm.
not New York,
Uh-huh.
everywhere else but New York, where
Yeah.
it was made, had a different idea of what it meant for going out to the clubs and dancing. New York was different in that regard. Everything was kind of like a performance. It was entertainment. We had our dances, but it wasn't to the extent of it was like everywhere else. Like there was still drippings of disco and club and early reggae and ska. Like all of these things were like in the clubs, electronic music. Like we were still rocking Planet Rock after y'all got tired of it. We were still rocking Planet Rock.
No. Say it right. Say it right. Not because we got tired of it, because more new shit.
Right? No.
Yeah, more stuff
I'm saying
came
that.
out. Yeah,
I'm saying that.
a lot more stuff came out.
But
So
we were
so when
rocking
let me tell you
Planet
something.
Rock
Let me tell you something,
nonstop
Rome.
out here.
Rome, check it out. Rome. You know, I moved, you know what I'm saying? I myself, speak for myself, I moved to Florida when 2006. And
Gotcha.
since like 1988, I can't tell you the year, you know what I mean? When one of my cousins actually moved out here, my mom and my pop would always take us back and forth over here to Florida every summer, pretty much until we, you know, saying we're on will, like, and we're not going back to Florida. There was nothing to do for us over there. So, but we weren't in the now. Obviously, I'm pretty sure if we were in the now, we might have liked it a little bit more. But still, there was no hip hop the way it was up there. Like not even in the radio state, there was nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? So the music that they did play, and I'm gonna give you, I remember these guys, and they actually played one of our No Border show with Red Rum, the twins, the Babalu twins. They call the Babalu twins.
Twice as nice.
Twice as nice. They were the only dudes that every now and then they would play. I don't know, The Bridge is Over or something, but this is like 1991 and shit. You know what I mean? And
Right.
And I'm not even saying The Bridge is Over. I'm talking about maybe a Run DMC song or something. You know what I mean? So, you know, it was just a little bit more behind. You know what I'm saying?
No, and I'm gonna have to.
As far as the majority, as far as now again. I speak from a part that I didn't know where the hip hop was over here, so I didn't know.
And so I went down right there too.
Yeah.
You're speaking truth.
I didn't know. But I can tell you this much.
In 2006.
I can tell. Well, no, I'm not talking about 2006.
No, you're talking about recently. I'm talking about you came here in 2006.
No. I'm talking about when I used to first. No. I'm talking about 1988, 89, when I used to come over here in the summers. And my cousin was living out here.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about back. And I'm talking about 2006. No, everything was already popping. You crazy? No, that shit was hip hop was here. Hip hop was here way long before that. Actually, if I'm right, man, I don't know if he's watching, but Matt C. Styles. Shout out to Matt C. Styles. He's actually one of my clients. I'm a barber in Downtown Barbers. Shout out to Pedro, Downtown Barbers.
Yo, you're going to have to edge me up, son.
Downtown Barbers in Apopka.
Oh, hell no, man. Shout out to APK, man. But
all day APK, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's my hometown right now, dog. I've been rocking with these guys for the past 10 years. Over 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the clients that I've had, you know what I'm saying, they've been there for quite some time. And one of the dudes is C Styles. And the owner of the barbershop, Pedro, he used to always tell me about this guy. Yo, he's a rapper, this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. He used to do this show. He used to do this club downtown. And we used to always go over there. So I'm like, I don't know nothing about it. But one day he came in and I started cutting his hair. And since then, we've been really cool. He started explaining to me just a little bit about it. But I don't go by one person's thing. I ask different people because I'm so new to Orlando. You know what I mean?
Okay. I need to explain this on behalf of my city, just so that we're clear. Okay. From the very beginning, we were getting tapes, and I could speak for myself.
Yeah.
Family members of mine would get tapes from Red Alert when he was spinning reggae on fucking 98.7 Kids. We would get tapes from Mr. Magic. We get tapes from Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
We would get tapes all day long out here. So we were up on the music. I always say this to my fellow New Yorkers. I'm a New Yorker by blood. That is my home in which I never lived. I grew up. I mean, here I was born in the Bronx, Kingsbridge Road. New York is just in me that way. Like I've always bled what the fuck they were breeding out here. Mm-hmm. But with that said, our crates were bigger. We played everything y'all played, but y'all weren't playing it what we were playing too. We played shit y'all wasn't playing. We were playing reggae before Red Alert was on that reggae shit. We were playing the electro music records y'all wasn't playing up there. We had the freestyle beginning out here in a lot of different ways, and y'all weren't playing that up there. Our crates were bigger. We just had bigger crates. Y'all had smaller crates. Y'all based things off of the neighborhoods when it came out. We played it because it was dope. So when we rocked that fucking Manfred Mann hip hop bebop, we rocked it because it was just dope. It didn't matter when it came out. We just played it. When we rocked that fucking, Connie funky little beat, we rocked that forever. That's one of Jam Pony's fucking mainstays.
Man, if it's funny you say Jam Pony.
Jam Pony Express. Shout out to Jam Pony.
It's funny you say that because in the Popco we speak about this a lot, and Jam Pony always comes up. You know what I mean?
All day.
And I remember, I'll never forget Jam Pony. My boy Pedro putting a Jam Pony out CD out. He played it in the barbershop. You know what I mean? Right. And you're right. You know what I'm saying? You're digging in a lot of different crates, and I'm not saying that is not bad at all. You know what I'm saying? It's different music, or it's just music to groove to.
Our crates were bigger because we had to play shit for the islands, but we had to play shit for New York, and we had to play shit for the South. We had to play all of it.
So now let me tell you something. He showed me a tape that he had put out, and we looked it up, and it was like a 1991 tape or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Right. And the music that was playing was music that we were listening to in 1986. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm telling you.
Well, listen. Let me explain. Let me explain something. So, music ages in dog years. You know what I'm saying? Something that's high, and what I'm saying, in a couple of months is not going to be better. With that said, the majority of music that was coming out and being pumped in New York City, you know what I'm saying, it was too much information for somebody, for example, like you guys said, you know what I'm saying? I really doubt that you were getting the Babito shit that he was spinning, that moment when it first came out right there, and then you guys were spinning because nobody had it.
Shout out to the Hitman. Hold on. But wait, I have to represent.
I just want to say something because we can speak specifics, like actual songs.
No, I'm speaking in general.
Yeah, but exactly. But we'll speak in general. You know what I'm saying? So that CD that he played, and he tried to tell me, yo, dog, this was the shit at that time, and I'm like, we were listening to Nas. We weren't listening to We weren't listening to that at all. That was it had changed, but it changed a long time ago compared to the tape that he was showing me.
No.
That this dude
This
was
is what
rocking,
this.
and and so I'm like, no. I was here too. You get what I'm saying? I
Right.
was here, whether I wasn't in the now, whether I wasn't in the clubs or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Because I was way too early at that time. You know what I'm saying, dog? I was what, 16 years old, 15 years old. You know what I'm saying, dog? So the hip hop that I was listening to up there was nowhere. You couldn't find it over here. You had to really know where it was at.
No, we weren't necessarily just barged or we weren't living on a barge out here. Like we weren't landlocked.
Bro, I'm not. Let me, bro.
Nah. Once people out here, shout out to the hitmen, DJ Khaled, DJ Caesar, DJ Nasty, DJ Magic Mike. Yeah. You have to remember, we had some of the best DJs in the fucking world from early.
Now you're taking it out of context and making me look bad in front of the best DJs in Orlando. And if
this ain't about you right now. This is about our city.
You don't know
about our city,
Orlando.
All I'm telling is the story. I don't know how it sounds.
Let me tell you. You can tell me, Rome. You can tell me the story all you want. I was also here as well. You know what I'm saying? Now, and I was here for summers. I was here the whole entire summer. Now,
you can't use radio because radio's not a great.
Well, that's the point. That's the problem. Let me explain something to you. In that era, if you weren't in the now, you were listening to radio. In New York, when you turned on the radio in 1988, you heard Mr. Magic. You heard Red Alert. You get
shout out to BLS. Shout out to Kiss.
Bro, let me tell you something. It's uncomparable.
It is. No one can compare.
And I am not saying anything out of the normal.
No.
At all.
New York cannot compare.
You know what I'm saying? I am not saying anything out the normal.
No, you can't.
You know what I'm saying?
You're not. And I know that. And I
you know what I'm saying? Though you're not going to tell me that.
No, bro. Right. No, I'm talking about fuck the radio.
You got tapes. You got tapes, but not everybody got tapes.
Right. But the people, once again, underground wasn't limited to underground. Underground, technically, the whole essence of what underground is a revolution. It's a revolution of information. Meaning, it's like the equivalent of do you know who the Black Panthers are? Like that's what that underground movement is like. We had 91.5 WPRK Rollins College, which I was honored to be a part of. I was a DJ on the Funky Underground. So was DJ Khaled, DJ Nasty, DJ Caesar. We made it a point, whereas the rest of the city, in a lot of regards, did not. But I could testify not only to myself in this instance, but to the hitmen and the like. As soon as I was able to drive, dude, as soon as I got a car, I was at Beach Street and on Fordham Road, and I was on Beach Street in Flatbush. I was going down in the basement, getting all them fucking bootlegs, and I was an avid listener of radio of New York and what the Kiss station in England. Shout out to my man, old man, white boy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anybody that could give me some feed on the comments, you know what I'm talking about. Old white man, still ripping reggae sound to this day. I'm having a brain freeze, but we were up on it. The problem was that y'all didn't have the problem of heat. Our records need to be up tempo simply because we had heat down here. So nobody wanted to wear all that shit. They wanted to wear less. Yeah. And when people from New York came down here, they couldn't understand that. Shout out to Two Live Crew, Luke. Two Live Crew's first album was damn near Mantronic's first album.
When I first came down here, that's the first album that was introduced to me by my cousin that was living out here for about a year already. We came out here to visit him in the late 80s, and that's the first album that he fucking sent to us, bro. Yo, dog. It was the dirtiest and filthiest shit we've ever heard in our whole entire life.
Right, and y'all weren't up on that shit because
y'all didn't. Well, no, you know why? Let me explain why.
Right.
I can explain why.
Y'all nasty now.
I'm gonna explain why. Let me explain why. Stop saying y'all, because I've been over here for about 14 years, motherfucker.
Talk your shit.
Listen, check this out. Check it out. It's so fucked up, and yeah, you're gonna hate me. You know what I'm saying?
Talk your shit, Nick. Talk your shit.
You know, we're not going to be like, you know, like cursing on the track as good as Luke and you know what I'm saying, the Two Live Crew did.
No, shout out to Coogee Rap. Shout out to Coogee Rap.
Yeah,
Talk like sex.
So all right, okay, I'm gonna give you a good exactly. That's a perfect example. So look, if you put that song, any of those Luke songs against Talk Like Sex, which is which is slightly more creative, which got bars in it, bitch.
All day long. Molly Mall produced it.
You know what I'm saying?
Molly Mall produced it.
Talk Like Sex. Talk Like Sex, one of my favorite dirty ass tracks. Off the fucking hook. Till now, it got bars on top of bars on top of bars on top of bars. You know what I'm saying? The Luke tracks was just really like a reggaeton song right now. You know what I'm saying? Let's fuck, let's fuck, let's fuck, let's fuck, let's fuck, let's fuck. I'm gonna do it like this, I'm gonna do it like that. It was nothing crazy.
No, that first album, so again, Live is What We Are. That first album, that first side B. Shout out to all my peoples that had tapes and vinyl. You know what I'm talking about. That side A, the majority of it was hip hop. It was equivalent to Mantronic's first fucking album. Fresh is the word. Shout out to Mr. Mix.
Rakim was out at that time, bro.
It don't matter. It don't matter.
All right. Okay, no, you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter to you. But to us, our brains were already levitated, dog. We were already up here, dog. You're talking about no, there's no way. There's no way that we're gonna go back down.
If y'all see how them booties are shaking, y'all see how them booties are shaking that back jam, bro.
Shout out to my big brother. Shout out to my big brother, Piano, dog. All right, but when he showed me, okay, Rakim, and I might have been by like 15 years old. You know, I did not understand him. You know why? Because my mind was still on Run DMC shit that was easy to understand. You know what I mean? You know, anything that was easy to understand. You know what I'm saying? When he showed me those kind of raps, that was a little bit more harder to understand. That I had to pay.
Oh hell no, nigga! Oh hell no!
So
hell no! We're still deciphering.
That opened up a palette of nothing but. I just want to hear somebody say something other than what this dude said a million times.
We're still deciphering, you know like the pyramids. That fucking Melly Mel and that fucking
that was
fucking
too young.
The message. That message, we're still deciphering.
Let me tell you something.
How prophetic that was.
Dog, let me tell you something. The message, I understood it later on. You get what I'm trying to say, dog? Because my young mind was listening to the hip hop, the hip hop, you don't. My young mind was listening to that. You know what I'm saying? When it actually grasped shit, when my young mind started learning things, because you know what I'm saying, mind you, you know, it wasn't all hip hop, first of all. You know what I'm saying? It really was not all hip hop. You know, hip hop was very, very limited at that time. Like, right. you know, you did not get hip hop. You did not get hip hop. You know what I'm saying? You know, you turned on the radio. Hip hop came on at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Hip hop was nowhere on the radio. And again, again, that's where you're getting the majority of your music from, is from the radio. We were listening to Thriller. We were listening to, Michael Jackson. We were listening to Billy Joel. We were listening to Hall and Oates. You know what I'm saying, dog? That was the popular music. You know what I'm saying? Right. Karis one quotes fucking, you know what I'm saying? Hall and Oates. And raps.
Yeah. Billy Joel.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? He quotes the Beastie, not the Beastie Boys, motherfucking the Beatles. You get what I'm saying, dog? You know what I mean?
Shout out to 305. Shout out to 305. Shout out to Los Angeles. Those stations that were built there from the very beginning were the only things that you could ever compare to New York radio. Miami 305 was Power 96. Power 96 is still heralded to this day as one of the legendary stations that didn't give a fuck. They played hip hop. They played all of it. They played most of the music that nobody ever heard on the radio. Shout out to K-Day in LA, which is still where Sway and Tech got their fucking beginnings from. And they were one of the few stations that played the most authentic versions of hip hop. But outside of that, and maybe a Chicago station, I may be missing one Chicago station, but outside of that, no one. You want to know the three most played songs in 102 Jams? Like for me, like at the beginning when we heard 102 Jams for the first time. Mind you, we didn't have no radio. We had WRL, which was an R&B station on AM. We had WOKB, which was an R&B station on AM. And that was the only thing that connected to us. And they would play hip-hop late at night like they probably did on BLS and 98.7 KISS. We heard hip-hop from the beginning because those DJs were up on those records. Shout out to all my DJs out here. Remember, Florida is the capital of DJs in the world. Ain't nobody fucking with our DJs out here at all. We have probably the most DMC championships. We have probably the most illest styles ever created. Shout out to all my DJs out here. We got more DJs, I feel like, than we got MCs out in this motherfucker. And that's really saying something. Now, 102 Jams, the first song they ever played, and I remember this like MTV, like their first video they ever played, which was Video Killed the Radio Star. Okay? 102 Jams, the first song they ever played, do you know what that is?
No. I would not know.
I'll give you a hint.
Talk to me.
It's 102 Jams. Jams.
What? Jams? I remember I used to come over here. They'd be like 102 Jams.
First song 102 Jams ever played. Yo, hit us up in the comments, man, if you are feeling what the fuck we talking about. First song, and they played that shit the first day that 102 Jams was even in existence, because for us, that was the most important moment in our life. We had our first hip-hop radio station. Technically, it wasn't, but they played hip-hop. First song, and it damn near ran for 24 fucking hours, was Jam On It. And that was way after Jam On It had already came out. What? We were already in the house. And so the three most played records during 102 Jams, my experience, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, was Jam On It, It Takes Two, and you know about It Takes Two.
Bro, It Takes Two to 2002.
That motherfucker was playing nonstop, 24 hours a day.
They played that shit a lot.
All right.
They played that shit a lot.
And Magic Mike Cuts the Record.
Okay.
Those songs, we know of Magic Mike. We weren't introduced to Magic Mike by radio. Most people that were in the know out here were already connected to Magic Mike, knew Magic Mike. All he played was hip hop in the early beginnings. he battled DJ Cut Creator and destroyed him at Electric Avenue. He was already a street legend out here. Hold on. He's the cousin of DJ Scratch.
Mm-hmm.
He made a point to make these tapes where we knew all the ultimate break beats. We knew all the fucking, all the underground shit. He was doing that. And then came the bass music.
Yeah.
But we were already up on what was going on because, like I said, if you were in the hood, like if you were in the Bronx or you're in Brooklyn, then you knew where to go for the tapes. We all knew those same things.
Yeah.
They might not have been as flooded like yours was,
Well,
but we knew about the music.
So here's the deal. It's bugged out about this conversation is bugged out, and actually all of these conversations about these things are kind of bugged out because I don't think no one stops to appreciate the music that just the music in general. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, brother.
I think it's always a big competition about, you know, when it comes to territories and shit, you know, and you know, like this conversation right now, like I don't even know what the hell I'm defending. You get what I'm saying?
No, I know you. No, let's
You know what I'm
let's
saying?
make it
And,
clear.
you know,
You're not defending anything.
But I want to say this.
You're not defending anything
because it turns out to you know, it's almost like okay, if you think that was the best, you know what I'm saying, for you, then you're right. Then it was the best for you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, right. like I don't, you know, I get attacked a lot because I'm from New York and because I'm from an era, right? And I'm gonna say this, right? Because you know, I'm prideful of certain things. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to be like, mine's is better than yours, but I always hear you guys think you're the best. I never said that.
No, that has nothing. It's bigger than you. That's bigger than you. It's bigger than me.
I speak for myself.
But we have to be fucking coherent of the world that we live in. But it's bigger than us.
But it doesn't like unless there are like actual factual numbers and, you know, things that you're gonna actually really go by and be like, well, the statistics of this and the averages of this many listeners and unless you're gonna really get all of that stuff, you're fighting you know, you're fighting a fight that's it's just opinions basically at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
And to be fair, like I said, I'm a fan of history. I know what this is. A lot of this is about. This has nothing to do with you as a personal person.
No, of course.
Right.
But I'm just saying,
this is bigger than us.
Yeah, this is not, because let me tell you something. This is not the only conversation that I've had about. All right,
North versus South goes back 500 years.
Well, you know what the crazy thing is that I don't think that there's a North versus South.
There is, bro. No.
Well, I don't think so.
No, for you personally,
I don't think so.
For me personally, you're absolutely right. There is a history that exists.
Well, I mean, of course, there's a North versus South, north of the Dixie line, all that bullshit. But I'm talking about as far as hip hop is concerned. As far as hip hop is concerned, you know, there should be no problems with nobody and New York State.
You're not saying that like
it shouldn't be. And I'm gonna tell you something. The people that should have gripes are people in Philadelphia, people in LA.
Because they were there from the beginning. Shout out to Schoolie D.
Well, that's what I'm trying to
Tough
say.
City.
That's my point.
Tough crew.
That's my point. That is my point. What you just said right there. Because they were there from the very beginning.
They were there, bro.
Like, you know, so
no, but they felt like they felt disrespected.
Anybody else, like I'm gonna tell you, I you know, man, we were buying this music, the music that was actually being sold. Now, whether a mixtape or whether a rapper was in your neighborhood that you were listening to, we didn't know nothing about it. We don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? You know, but the music that was actually being sold, at least in our area, since we can remember, You know,
Right.
I mean, of course, it was disco, and you know what I'm saying, but
We had
it
Philly,
was
Philly
hip
for
hop.
us in the very beginning, and I'm talking about the very beginning. Shout out to all my peoples that know about this hip hop from the very beginning. So,
Big shout out,
this
big
next
shout out,
comment, not
big
next
shout out.
comment goes out to you guys. From the very beginning, the Philly represented the South. And I tell you how that is. I spoke to DJ Tap Money. I've spoke to a lot of people from Philly and their sentiment on how they felt of how New York treated them. And they were like the South. They
Yeah,
were like the little brother,
yeah.
right? They felt
Uh-huh.
like they had a chip on their shoulder, and they had to. That's why gangster rap originated in Philly. Shout
I
out to
did that.
Schoolie D
Schoolie D,
because
big shout, big
right,
time.
because he had the vision, whereas nobody else did, to curse on a record
Mm-hmm.
and curse like we curse on the street. Like he was the first one to inspire Ice-T, to inspire the Two Live Crews, to inspire the NWAs to say what it was, and
Well,
everything else.
the record label gave him the pass,
No,
and
they gave him
sold,
the pass,
and
right? It
sold
was
them, and sold
monetary shit
and thought,
behind
you
it.
know, you got to remember too. At the end of the day, you know, it is a system. They were trying to drown us and trying to fuck up our kids and trying
You
to fuck
damn
up
right, bro. Talk all
everybody.
that shit. You
So they're gonna
damn
try
right.
to sell us the most fucked up shit. And bro, I'll tell you a story, dog, real quick. I don't know how long we have, but
Dime.
there was a time when De La Soul's second album came out. De La Soul is Dead, right? I think it was De La Soul is Dead, right? And at that same week, Niggas for Life came out. NWA Niggas for Life came out that same week, and I bought both of those albums that same week, right?
Yeah.
And I brought them home, and I got my Walkman. Normally, I take a few tapes with me, and I'm a humongous De La Soul fan. I'm pretty much, saying native tongues all day,
You already know.
And I popped the De La Soul album in my in my house, and I'm listening to it, and I'm liking it. I'm liking it. And I just fast forwarded real quick, you know what I'm saying? Because we're ready to leave, me and my boy. And then I threw on the NWA tape. And the first song, I was like, holy fucking shit, this is what I want to listen to all fucking day. And it's and I'm not as big of an NWA fan as I am a De La Soul fan at all by far. You know what I'm saying? But the
Sonics?
yeah, it just made me it was
That West Coast Sonic
it wasn't so.
equalizing
Let me tell you something. It
oppression.
wasn't so much. It wasn't so much that it was the negativity that I really, wanted at that time. I was going to the
I want to
street.
be fair to NWA, and I hear exactly
Let
what
me
you're
tell you,
saying.
because I'm talking about Appetite for Destruction. I'm talking about
Yeah, shout out to that
the shit
album.
that really motivated the shit out of you, that pushed you. So I'm ready to go outside in the streets. It's a Saturday night. I'm not listening to De La Soul. I'm not gonna listen to that also on a Saturday night when I'm ready to go out and get in. You know what I'm saying? I threw on that fucking NWA album, and that just stood in my cassette deck for the whole entire week, bro. I didn't hear the De La Soul album till I was actually ready to calm down.
Go chill.
Or,
Right.
or,
Go chill.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Get off of that cloud, that cloud. You know what I'm saying? And go back to my roots.
Their Straight Outta Compton album. Let me tell you what that did for the South. That fucking really it harnessed the power of carjacking. That year that shit came out, we made carjacking a fucking science out in this motherfucker. People, places were getting robbed. A lot of people died behind that music, and it was also revolutionary in the sense of fuck the police. If you were in the South and you dealt with that police out here, and you knew what that police was about, it was the voice for our fucking state.
Well, you know what, dog? I'm gonna tell you something. Let me tell you. And we have this conversation in the bar, bro. I'm in the barbershop, dog.
All day. Let's go.
This conversation right here is cakewalk. We have these conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like
let's
you
go, family. Let's go, family.
and we've had these conversations in New York. Shout out to my boy Carl.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Carl and Peace Hotspot, my old barbershop. And you know, I have a theory of why New York is so hated out here as well. You know what I'm saying? And
No,
it
it's not. Don't do that. It's not. New York is beloved.
Wait a minute.
Beloved.
Wait a minute.
Beloved.
It's very competitive and very, very
Ninguno.
No.
No,
So check it out.
I don't want you to run that narrative on the show because we respect and why. I think once again,
let me finish my point. I have a point. You know, so much that when hip hop from the West really started like banging and hitting, the South really understood that music a lot more than the music that was coming from up north. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, there's a bunch of reasons. You know what I'm saying? You know, and there's not a knock.
But I just want to tell you, when I say knock, it was the knock.
When I say a lot of people, I'm talking about the mass majority of the people that started listening to hip hop early, later on in their years, and started looking at it as a fad. Not the people that knew. There's a big difference from the people that you and I are probably speaking about. I'm talking about a big majority of people that made hip hop popular.
I'm not saying that you're wrong.
Not you and I. You know what I'm saying? Because that collected tapes. We are a very rare breed. You know what I'm saying? Our Earl Lugos and you know what I'm saying, my brother Joey, you know what I'm saying? Your Shinobis and you know, these guys, you know what I'm saying, they understood. And not only up north hip hop, they understood dope West Coast hip hop, dope South hip hop, dope Midwest hip hop. It wasn't just because it was popular, it was because it was dope. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to all my Jamaican massive, my West Indian massive. Most of this music is derivative. Shout out to Kool Herc, derivative of the island of Jamaica. We had a different connection to Jamaica than New York did. Okay, when in all other places in the nation had their own wanting to be connected with Jamaica. I don't know what it is about Jamaica that created a wall of sound. Shout out to Elton John. I'm saying that wall of sound. Like if you went into any earlier club, Pac Jam, sound station, whatever, you would see a wall of woofers, the likes of which you would never see anywhere else in the nation. Okay. Part of the music that came early from LA, and some of it's based on technology. Shout out to Roland with the TR-808 and the 909. Once y'all moved from that, and like you were talking about the Run DMCs, the Peter Pipers, the Daryl and Joes, like those tracks that were 808 heavy, Paul Revere, like that, there was a whole Def Jam legacy that was built simply on that Roland 808 and that fucking TR-909, and y'all moved on from it. The rest of the fucking nation, we love that 808. And reggae, Jamaica, loved that fucking 808. Shout out to all the Casio keyboard. They know what I'm talking about. They add that 808 to those fucking beats in that Casio keyboard, and it was a rap. Once reggae became electronic, it was like a rap.
Everything evolves and then revolves. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Goes right
we
back.
Love the sound.
You know, but
we love the sound of that bass.
But you know, okay, that's fine. But that sound is not for every single thing.
No,
you know
just like house wasn't. House came from New York and Chicago, and for the life of me, I couldn't stand house. Like I felt house was an affront to hip hop for the longest out here in Florida because they would diss hip hop for house. But we were like, man, fuck that.
No, you know what? You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy, man? You know, and now I bring it back to what you said, you know, saying about dancing, and you guys danced and everything like that.
We danced. That's what we did.
And you know what? When house got meshed with hip hop, you know, there was some classic music that came out. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
And that was dance music. I mean, we're talking about shit. We're talking about even Queen Latifah. You know what I mean? We're talking
Oh,
about
yeah, man.
a
Coogee
lot
Rap,
of
Big Daddy
people. It
Kane,
was whether it was the fad,
Soho.
whether it
Yeah.
was the fad. It was. Let me tell you something, bro. Hip hop spawned just about how many genres did hip hop spawn?
You damn right. Talk your shit.
You get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So like,
Freestyle,
even dubstep,
bass,
even dubstep, I'll be like spawned from hip
dubstep.
hop.
That came
You
from
know what I'm
hip hop,
saying?
dog,
Like,
all day.
the list goes on. Trap music,
Trap, all that.
you name it. You know what I'm saying? And it's dope whether people agree with it or not, stuff like that. I think that people are really prideful about the fact that it started in New York, quote unquote. If whatever people, whatever, whether
You're right, and you're
hold on,
right
wait,
about
let me say
that, and you're
something.
wrong.
Let me say something. Whether you agree with it, whether I agree with it, I don't know. I don't even give a fuck. You get what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck. That's for you to argue with this other person that has knowledge of it and blah, blah, blah. You know what I know? You know what I know? I know what the fuck happened. I know what I saw. I know
Yeah.
what I lived. You know what I'm saying? And nobody can ever take anything away from me. I don't got to Google it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, dog? I don't got to go in a fucking.
It's just like producers, right?
You know what I'm saying?
There's producers that like they just love what the SB 1200 does. Like they only want to hear beats or bit rate from that SB 1200. And there's also producers like in the modern that they don't know anything outside of Fruity Loops. Like they know what that Fruity Loop sounds like. And so like within the middle of that, you have your MPCs, you have your your TR-808s, you have you have all of these different things, and it's taste. It's just what appeals to you, what makes sense to you.
Bro,
But we
again,
know the originalization of it all.
Again,
It's records.
it kind of comes back to the very beginning. The conversation is that hip hop is not yours. Hip hop is not mine. You know what I mean? The kid that's making hip hop on a Fruity Loops and on his fucking phone, that's banging out better beats than the dude that's doing it on his hardware. I'm sorry, but give it to that kid. Give it to that kid. Give it to the other kid. Give it to this other dude.
Boom! Shout out to
rocking.
Madlib. Shout out to Madlib who makes beats on a fucking iPad. Shout out to Madlib.
Let me tell you something. I'll never forget. Shout out to Swanberg, right? I remember having a conversation.
Let's go.
In a club, right? It was a long time ago when I first got in there. It was actually they won't remember this, of course. You know what I'm saying? But I do because I hold certain things. You know what I'm saying? Dear. And I remember it was a conversation with him and this dude from Warheads, right?
Strange Flow.
And we were at the bar. It was an MIM show. I'll never forget this shit. I won tickets at the Panic Room. Shout out to all these motherfuckers because this is like the very beginning when I first actually started really being in the scene in Orlando. Yeah. And they're having this conversation in front of me about hardware. About NPCs and this, that, the other. And I just transitioned from my hardware to the software because it seemed like if that's what everybody was doing, right?
What?
And I'm looking and I'm learning all of these, these Pro Tool bullshit and all of this, right? And how to make the beats on and not use it to record. And
right.
And then they're talking about the hardware right in front of me, and I'm like, you mean to tell me that motherfuckers is using hardware now?
Yeah, hell no.
Yo, dog, I'm gonna tell you right now, I swear to God, dog, I kid you not. I think I quit making music around that time.
Oh, hell no, man.
I'm like, fuck y'all. I'm gonna tell you something, dog. And then records come out. And now everybody loves records. Do you know the amount of records that I had in the fucking early 90s, bro? It was ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you know what? I'm not. And then I said this to myself. I said, I'm not going backwards. I'm not going backwards, dog. I'm not going backwards. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep creating. I'm going to keep on doing.
Well,
we did the No Border show, dog.
Just because we live in the future does not mean a fork no longer is useful. Like people use their weapons of choice. Like there's still Probably there's still better people with knives than there are spoons, than there are forks. But they're
Bro,
still useful. These things are still useful.
dog. I started giving flat tops again, dog. I didn't think I was gonna give another fucking flat top again, bruh.
The world needs
I'm giving kids flat
bartenders.
tops, bruh. I'm
The
giving
world needs some
flat
bartenders.
tops, bro.
The world needs some bartenders, bro.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm giving kids flat tops now, dog. You know what I'm saying? So of course records are gonna come back out.
What was your weapon of choice? Speaking of that, when you were massing the beats, if you will.
My brother and I, we bought two turntables, two 1200s, and
Okay.
and he went out with my boy Raheem. Big shout out to my boy Raheem. He went out and he bought a Gemini sampler, right?
Yeah, I remember the 4-second sampler.
A regular. It was a 8 sec. It had 4 banks, 8 seconds, and 3 seconds.
8-second sampler. You're right. It was each of them were 2 seconds long. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Yep, I remember that.
and my dude, my boy used to always tell me, Quinn. I used to always be like, how the fuck do they make these beats? I don't know how they make these beats. And they're like, well, it's a sample. It's part of a record. And I'm so naive that I'm just like, what do you mean, like a little piece of a record? How the fuck? What are you talking about? A record? Piece of a record? He's like, yeah, they sample it. I didn't understand what the fuck it is until my brother actually bought it, and he bought a sampler, and I think I'll be honest with you, dog. To be honest with you, God bless my brother, man. I think he actually even did it to keep me out the streets. You know what I'm saying? And to make sure that I was on something. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Brooklyn and those streets.
And it worked. It worked because I stood there and I would mix a riff with a, you know what I'm saying, with a classic drum beat, and I would have a beat that would be like, some bullshit. But I understood. So after that, I started mixing, Diana Ross records and different records with these drum beats, and then catching different pieces, and then just start messing with them. Oh, bro, I'm talking about. I come from a time that my after doing that, in order to rap on it, I'd have to have a record player. So one of those regular record players and shit, and you would just hit record and put it right next to the speaker. And
right.
I didn't even have a mic actually, and we would just rap onto this shit right there. It was, you know what I'm saying? It was that.
It was dope. That's dope, man. That was the beginnings.
And then shout out to my boy Eric. Shout out to my boy Eric SDS, man. And he introduced me. I always say he's the last friend that I ever met. He introduced me to the EPS 16 Plus.
Man, shout out to Insonic. I still have my ASR 10. I'm looking right at it right now, and I love it.
So the EPS is the granddaddy to the ASR.
ASR 10, man. Right? Yes.
And it's the same sound. It's that same crunchy, that same thick sound.
It's 16-bit, but that 16-bit
is
what Insonic does and how it comes out. There's probably no reverb on the planet. Like Insonic should have made rack mounts of their reverb, because their reverb, what it does on the in and out of that, it's everything.
Bro,
that's what makes that Insonic does.
I love how knowledgeable you are of it, bro. So then after that, I bought myself like I think like in 98 and 99, the Triton came out with the touch.
Yeah, the Korg. Shout out to Korg and Triton.
The Triton. That actually, I got it right here, right now, and that's the I bought that piece of equipment, and it wasn't like the Ensonic. You know what I'm saying? It really wasn't. But I still made music out of it and stuff like that, And then I moved over here to Florida, man. I started doing the Fruity Loops thing. My brother-in-law, Gatscan, shout out to Gatscan and the Beat Ministry. You know what I'm saying? He helped me out with the Fruity Loops, and I got into that a little bit. We actually came out with a few mixtapes out here in Orlando. Me and my boy M.I. Nice as well. Shout out to M.I. Nice. Only Us.
Yes.
Our group's
M.I. Nice. Let's go.
And then we did a few joints. We did 2 albums, 2 CDs and stuff like that. And then everybody started doing their own thing. And that's when the photography spawned, the videography spawned, and the No Borders, man. the No Borders took a life of his
I'm
own.
glad you're talking about the No Borders. Obviously, like I said, I've been honored to be. I'm waiting for the invite. When you gonna put me on them fucking turntables, bro?
Oh man, you
You
got
see
it,
how I
bro.
gets down
You
all
got it.
fucking day long. But that's neither here nor there. But no, I definitely, for what you're offering, for what you're bringing to Orlando's table, I think it's probably one of the most unique things that we have to offer out here in the city because art doesn't have any borders. You can be from any part of the globe and be an artist. And some of the things I've seen at these displays are pretty fucking amazing. I wish our city would back us in a real way, because they get plenty of dollars in regards to what they consider art. But some of those arts needs to start flowing. Some of that money budget needs to start flowing down to our city information, people that are out here in the city, because that's our real time information. That's our eyewitness news. That gives us all the information we need to know what's going on a day-to-day basis, and not so much as this other bullshit that they seemingly always pump millions of dollars into, but
Bro,
it never represents all of us in
bro,
this
let me tell you.
entirety.
Let me tell you, Rome. I saw this thing. Karis one. He actually spoke, and it was pretty dope. You know, what I'm saying he mentioned some shit. One of the things that he mentioned was about people writing our story, and he was like, in the early '80s, you had some actual journalists and photographers taking pictures and writing the story about
Right.
the event, or writing the story about the artist, or writing the story about the rapper, the producer, and everything. You know what I'm saying? But the person is not really telling their story. You know what I mean? So he was like, it's really up to you to tell your story. It's not up to them to tell their story. They're gonna tell your story how they see it. No one's
Right.
gonna tell your story how you see it. So that's why you're that important. You know what I'm saying? Someone like yourself, because we can't expect anyone to do the job that we want to do. You get what I'm saying? Like right now, like, yo, this was a great time, bro. First of all, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I have fun talking shit with you. You know what I'm saying?
This is our shit. We were talking
it
about
was awesome. You know what I
our
mean?
lives.
But if you don't do it, shout out to Locally Fresh. Locally Fresh. She started her podcast, and I'll never forget being just always trying to be a stone and being like, don't give up. Keep on. You know what I'm saying? I'll never forget Crescendo. Shout out to Crescendo. And before he started the Ozone Effect, I'll never forget this day. I don't know whether he remembers it or not. I don't care, but I love this. I love the thought. And I told him, I said, dog, if you're gonna do this Ozone Effect thing, you need a website. You need a website, dog. You know what I mean? So you can make it yours. So you can make it yours, like, and you can really make it important. The word was important, and I never forget that he sent me a message. He said, "Yo, I got, ozoneffects.net." I was like, "Fuck yeah, bro! Make it yours." You know what I'm saying, dog? Make it yours, man. Make it yours. You know what I mean? If you're doing it, then make it real. You know what I'm saying? Make it real. You know what I'm saying? And go at it. And if you're spending time doing it, then do it hard. Make that time worth it. You know what I'm saying? And you're not just going to, put a little bit of time to make yourself feel good. You know what I'm saying? That's ego. You know what I'm saying? You fed your ego, you feel good. No, dog. There's no more sleep after that. You know what I'm saying? You're not sleeping until you're done, or
Part
until you say,
part
I'm done, and I don't want no more. You know what I'm
part
saying?
of the artist journey, and I know you can get what I'm saying, and I'm about to go real deep, but we're not going deep like you're not going to get it. We're going deep, deep enough that you are going to get it. Most artists most creatives, their purpose is already outlined from the gate. It's greedy. It doesn't give a fuck about whether you worked 24 hours a day or 48 hours a day. It's going to say, how can you sleep knowing what you got to do? There's not even anything of proof of the arc you're building, because you're building arcs. As creatives, we build arcs. We build those crosses. We build those what do you call it? The Dead Sea Scrolls. We build those pyramids. As artists, as creatives, we are in charge of the most important information that the world will ever see. Even when we're gone, we're in infamy, depending on how serious we were about what we needed to do. And it's not easy. It is a burden, it is an honor, and it is a battle. And most that do it realize the weight of it. And it doesn't always pan out to the same outcome. Some may do it for about 10 minutes, like a Jimi Hendrix. You know, right now we're in the midst of an Elon Musk. We're in the midst of all these other people and their changes. The Martin Luther Kings, how long was he around? How long was Tupac around? How long was Malcolm X around? Like, when you realize the weight of what you're carrying, the consensus is, I'm honored. Why do I got to carry it? Why me? Who else is going to carry it? I have to leave a precedence for someone else to see what I did, and maybe they could carry it. And then that's not even promised, because for a lot of us, it is a struggle. Art is the heartbeat of our lives. We can't exist one day on this planet without art.
No,
that's why God is so merciful. We go outside, there's trees, there's rainbows, there's birds, there's animals, there's people smiling. Like, we can't go 1 minute on this earth. There's the sun, there's the atmosphere, there's layers, there's levels. Like, we can't go one day without recognizing the power of art and all the infinite colors of that spectrum and what that shit represents. We all have a responsibility. I know my art won't allow me to sleep if I didn't do what it takes to do what I needed to do for that day. I'm not talking about the week, just the day. If I fucked off a day and didn't add nothing to the purpose, this is why when you hear somebody say, man, thank God, if you woke up today, you got another day to try again, that shit is serious. It's not to be taken lightly, because for every creative, every day that you didn't add to your art is a waste. That means you didn't serve the people. That means you didn't serve. Part of being an artist, our job is to serve.
Yeah.
Our job is to give away which is ours. We don't even own it anymore, but I never felt one day on this planet that anything that was creative about me or that I thought was dope about me, I was supposed to keep for me. Like, my whole mission, like my whole fucking sense of my life was to give it away. Here, take this. I wanted to share it with my brother. I want to share it with my sister.
Yeah.
I may have been a fuck up my entire life, but this was the only thing that was good in my mind. Like, to me, that made sense. That was the music in my life. That was what God gave me. Like, yeah, he made me a klutz, or he made me this, or maybe I could excel here. But these are the points in my life which I don't need anything to work anything out. Like, this is what I give of my life, like, as easily as I would give anything else. Like, for a friend. Like, our gift is our friend too. Like, our gift requires a level of giving your life for it, like we would give for our friend. Sometimes we don't need an explanation. Well, what did you do? You got one friend on this world, if you're lucky, that you'd give your life for, and you don't need an explanation. You don't. I don't know if that's your wife. I don't know if that's your son. I don't know if that's your boy you grew up with. But there's one person on this planet that you will give freely and never require anything other than, okay, you need it, I got it. And those are the places in which the wealth is just poured onto the people. Those are where people get inspired. Those are where people are like, damn, he was up against like Goliath. He's David. How the fuck did he beat him? Like, those are the stories we share because there's no way, there's no proof of how you would win other than your will to just give. Like, we remember the stories, like you said earlier about that selflessness and being selfish. Well, part of that selfish is being crazy. You're the crackhead. You're the people nobody understands or gets. You lost everything. There's no reason why you should win. Like, you're that dude until you're not that dude. Until you do something extraordinary that no one had ever expected from you. And then you're the great dude. Everybody celebrates the accomplishment. They don't see all the things that you were faced with. They don't see the Saul. They see the Paul.
Yeah.
They don't see that you were, that you had to sleep in that well for a minute. Maybe it was 10 years until you came to the conclusion that maybe I need to listen to God and not what I want to fucking do. We all at some point feel like we're the biggest shit in our newspaper, but we don't realize how big it is to write about the biggest motherfucker. Right? Like, we write the whole paper and we talk about how everybody else is big, but we only want the one article. We only want the one part in the paper when the entire paper is to be written by us.
Yeah.
And I speak to that from a place in which, bro, I understand the gravity of this situation. I know what it is to talk to my people. I know how important that is. I know what it is. I'm talking to you amongst my people. This is not the end of it. There's going to be people that are going to look back at this recording and say, man, my man talked to his people. He didn't have any fear. He spoke his truth, and he respected where the man was coming from. And he knew how important his message was to our city. He knew how important it is for all of our people to hear what you've done thus far. And that at the end of the day, we may go down in history sometimes as people that just worked a job or did something for a couple people, and that be it. But once again, I can this whole show. This is not a fucking podcast. It's more than a fucking podcast. This is our fucking story in which to this fucking day, there is not a consensus enough for me to ever feel like we give a fuck about our city the way we should be giving a fuck about our city in a real fucking way and talking about our city in a massive state like we are that New York. We're that LA, or we're that Miami. And it doesn't mean that I'm the hero of this movie, because one, I don't want to be. I know the power of the story. It's bigger than me. We need all of us to make this the fucking story. Just like everywhere else needed. They needed Melly Mel. They needed fucking Cool Herc. They needed Red Alert. They needed Grandmaster Flash. They needed everybody.
Yeah.
They needed everybody.
It's a different time. It's a different time. You know what I'm saying? I think that sometimes it really doesn't matter. I think the fact that we all stick together and enjoy what
celebrate.
Yeah, because if someone's trying to make like for example, Orlando better than another city, then you're losing. You know what I'm saying?
Off top.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you just have to make Orlando better than what it was, or better than, saying,
Absolutely.
as better as it can be. Like, you're not gonna make it like another city, or you're not gonna make it like this, or you're not.
No, we're
You
not. But you
shouldn't
should
even
be able
adapt.
to
You shouldn't even.
exist.
You shouldn't even adapt to other cities and try to
No,
be
you
other
should be
stuff.
able to
Like,
exist.
I think that Orlando has enough creatives, enough promoters, enough money, enough podcasters, enough marketers to make Orlando just a thriving community within itself. And like it does, and then maybe later on people will be like, damn, that shit looks kind of popping over there. I'm gonna tell you right now, we do this No Border show, and I kid you not, since the very first show that we've done, somebody always comes from out of town. Somebody always comes from out of town. You know what I mean? I remember, I can't remember this guy's name, that brought in this dude from Fearless Four. You know what I mean? He didn't bring
So
him like that.
peso?
Peso. He wanted to come. He wanted to come. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to peso.
Yeah,
Fearless Four.
big shout to Peso. You know what I'm saying? And Benny actually was the one that actually sent him
Benny
out.
Serrano,
Yup.
right?
Yeah, big
Shout out to Benny
out.
Serrano.
He's you see, like, dudes like that selfless, man.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I think if there are more things like it to make other people say, damn, I want to go over there. Damn, I want to experience that. I want to experience this. I want to experience that. Then if we're doing it for ourselves, for us to enjoy it, the outsiders are gonna look in and say, shit, they look like they're having fun. I want to go do
Right.
that. It's just like anywhere. It's just like Miami. You know what I'm saying? And
Well, when you say Miami, everything they do is about Miami, even on the most smaller scale. And it's funny, it's so subtle, and sometimes it can be overlooked. But everything they do is about Miami.
well, you know what's
Like,
crazy? Shout out to Thurston Howell, because
Thurston Howell, shout out to my dude. Let's go.
he lived out there in Miami, and one of the things that he actually told me, which I had to agree. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not from Miami, but I had to agree with what he's telling me, because it kind of looks like that way. He was like, "There's a bigger hip hop scene in Orlando than there is in Miami."
Yeah, there is. You're absolutely fucking right.
And when you think about it, and he explained it, he was like, we're not talking about your trap music. We're not talking about we're talking about actual hip hop that we make, that we create, that we love. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess now you got to differentiate it, because there are so many branches of it. But he did mention that, and it's true. You know what I'm saying? You kind of had to agree with it. You had to say that, you know what? No, there's a lot of MCs. You know what I mean?
MCs,
Producers,
DJs,
yeah,
producers.
DJs, yeah. There's a whole lot, and they're keeping a culture, you know what I'm saying, steady and alive. You know what I'm saying, dog? And I'm gonna tell you something. It's happening since I've been out here. I've seen, I've seen E-Turn turn into something
Shout out to E-Turn.
immaculate. I remember her as being Eternity when I first got over here.
Right.
And you got to be kidding me. She does tours overseas. You know what I'm saying? Nico is. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about Shinobi Stalin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're talking about
The problem that I've told them.
What I mean is that
go ahead.
what I mean is that there is a stepping stone, and whether they become Orlando's premier artists or not, they will breed Orlando's premier artists. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying, dog?
Bro.
Where there is, saying, and I don't want to say that they're stepping stones, and I don't want to say that they're not prominent in Orlando. They're very prominent in Orlando. You know what I mean? But what I say that by that, I mean, like, to be the I don't know, the Rick Ross of Orlando. You know what I mean? To bring these opportunities to all of these, saying, different people, bigger opportunities and stuff like that. That's what I mean, So if they're not on that plateau yet, and they don't reach that plateau, hopefully, God bless them, that they will breed the next the next MC, premier MC of
And
Orlando.
like you said earlier in the
Only
beginning of
going
the
up.
conversation, that we haven't talked since I got back. We're still introducing ourselves to one another. I get it. When I tell you about Orlando, I'm not telling you from a biased perspective. My family's from New York. My family's from St. Croix. My family is from Florida. My family's all over here. I have a vested interest in seeing our city blow up because based on existing business models, I just feel like when the city is the focus, we can all eat. I watched it in Kansas City. Small market. Who the fuck would ever think about who the fuck Tech Nine? I've never heard a Tech Nine record in fucking Orlando. Never. Kansas City, he is a god. Why? Because he promotes the city. He's all about Kansas City. I don't even think there's probably, if you could go through an album and not hear Kansas City once, I'll bet money on that. He always mentions his city in a way that you would be a fool to disrecognize. The only reason I know this contrast is because I grew up during a time in which I heard Magic Mike and Clay D, Beatmaster Clay D, shout out to Beatmaster Clay D, Madness, MC Boo, and these and the like. Ever acknowledge Orlando in a way into which all these people that got really successful never really acknowledge Orlando like they admired everywhere else. And I'm telling you this from a standpoint in which I don't care what the world says about me. They can say I'm wrong. They can say I'm just making this shit up. I lived here. I know what it was like to be overlooked, to not even be considered. I was signed to Shaq. Twism Records, Shaquille O'Neal, which was one of the most important players of the Magic. They signed Shaquille first. In the vibe of the city, we thought it was nothing but championships forever when we signed him. And thinking about what that vibe was like in reference to what the city has enamored after that point, it's just like I said, when you think about long term, this shit ain't got nothing to do with my perception. I'm just being honest about what I see. And if anybody else that lives here is being honest about what the fuck they see, we care more about supporting a person personally than we care about supporting the city. And if you know anything about business, most businesses strive and they get all of their power from what city they're asking for support from.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a Walmart opening up or 3 Walmarts opening up in Orlando or Disney expanding and asking councilmen to approve a tax to open up a new highway or a new transit system to get more people to Disney, what are they screaming? They're screaming Orlando. This is where we miss as a hip hop community in Orlando because we've allowed the people, like you said earlier, which don't represent us. It's more than just ours to define what hip hop is to them. And then by that, make us basically exclude us out of our own thing.
They want our content.
They want our content, but they don't want us involved.
They don't want us. A magazine doesn't want you. A podcast doesn't want you. You know what I'm saying, though? You know, they want your content.
Right.
The next day, they need somebody else's content. Next day, they need somebody else's content. It's up to it's not. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, there isn't, because Jay-Z said it fucking plain out. Jay-Z said, "We don't believe you. You need more people." And the only time we need more people is when they're shooting our ass. So we got to set the bar lower so that it's not just only we come together when they're shooting our ass, that we come together based on our equity and the things that are important to all of us, that they don't control the narrative, to your point, and I'm agreeing with you, that they don't just annex our narrative and then gentrify us out of it. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you you couldn't afford the rent. She can't live here no more.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I think our worth has a lot to do with it, you know. And I think
speak your truth, brother.
I think, and I speak to you, and I speak about myself. You know what I mean? You know, my wife always tells me, you know, you charge too little, or you know, saying, like, what are you, saying, really, saying, doing it all for? And I know the reasons. I know my own reasons. You know what I mean? But she is right, and that's where the sacrifice comes in. I don't want to, charge my people a lot of money. I'll take corporate money all day, every day. You know,
right? Because the people ain't the problem.
Yeah,
right.
but I'm not selling. I'm not selling my culture to corporate. You know what I mean? So there's a very thin line. So now, do you sell your soul to corporate for money, or do you just do it for your peoples for fun and just make sure that you have enough funds from your peoples to keep on doing it? You know what I mean? And then you do it till you have no more energy. So now my cousin will kill me telling you something like that, because he's looking at it like, oh, you're wasting your time then if that's the case. You know what I mean? You're wasting your time. Everything's about money, kind of shit.
Yeah, but
and I don't think
you have to be of service on this planet, just like the trees serve us.
So I truly believe that everything that I do will come full circle with something that I'm doing for myself, not something that I'm doing for someone else. Does that make any sense? You know what I mean?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. You're talking to our city right now. You're telling them the truth on what you're going through as a creative, as an organizer, as a person.
I'm gonna tell you. So I do music videos. I do photography. You know what I mean? And that's my work. That's my time. I'm going to charge you for that shit. You know what I'm saying? If you want it from me, I'm going to charge you for it. You know, the No Border show. I don't want to charge a lot of money for people to come to the show, because I want people to come and enjoy the show. You know what I'm saying? And so long as we have enough funds to put the show on together and for all of the artists to get paid, then, you know what I'm saying? Again, I'll keep on doing it until I'm dead tired and I don't want to do it anymore, or it's taking too much time away from my family and I'm just, quitting or whatever, or I'll pass it on to someone that can do it or whatever it is. Until now, there's so many ideas for the show that there is no way I'm fucking stopping no time soon. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something as a fellow spectator, as someone that was introduced to what you're offering to our city. I said in the opening monologue, I wish we had this when I was coming up out here before I left. I know how important what you're doing is to our culture. And at the end of the day, like, dude, whatever your limit is it's always going to be over. Like, you can't tell me, like, once again, we were just talking about Public Enemy earlier. I heard Public Enemy #1. I heard Terminator X. I heard Welcome to the Terror Dome. And that was it. I don't need to hear anything else from them. And if whatever I hear is never gonna alter my space of them. Yeah. Like Rakim did I Ain't No Joke. No. Here's how I'm sick with it. The first verse, he killed everyone. there was no reason to do a second verse. But that second verse, that was enough for 2 albums to decipher.
Yeah.
He murdered anyone in the future. Okay, so for me, at the end of the day, man, I respect. We're not working with a lot. We don't have no expectations. Nobody expected anything great from Orlando. I got you. Okay? Nobody expected anything from us. We're the underdog. We playing off fucking inspiration, energy. We're just playing off of everything we've ever built out here. Y'all got the most pressure, which is New York. So when we come to the table and when I see what you doing out here for the culture, that I know I lived most of my life in this motherfucker. And I ain't never seen nobody dedicate any time for that. You know how many times we had a fight? Holla at them Hitman niggas. Caesar, Hitman. Caesar, Nasty, Khaled. We had to get our own venues. Nobody would ever support us. We had to get halls. The halls were the end thing. And all of us congregated. And we all spoke. We didn't just dance. We spoke. There's relationships that were forged in fucking history in this city that will never be broken simply because at the time of hip hop's birth or its or the forging of its most important metal, we were right there. And I know niggas that never held back. They would have went to the fucking Egypt to grab the record that we needed to hear to be up where New York was. Yeah. And what I'm saying is we respect hip hop out here just like our peoples from New York do. And that may not be always seen or understood in a way that is palatable. Like you could drink a fucking Cabaret or some sort of rosé and feel like you don't need to have a chill. But the real truth about it all is, man, I was there, I seen it, and you heard that Jay-Z lyric. I was there. You were never there.
You know what, Rome?
Most of my peoples out here, the Jesse Jazzes. I know the Alfredo Rodriguez's. I know the Earl Lugos. Like we were all there. We were everywhere. We were there.
Rome, you know what's crazy? Check it out, right? It was for a lot of people, saying like sports, saying rap turned into a get rich quick scheme.
You damn right, brother. Talk your shit, brother.
And
talk your shit.
When I was a kid getting into hip hop, aside from loving what you're doing, because obviously you love it, if you're not making no money from it and you just keep on doing it and you want to wake up every fucking morning and do it and go to sleep dreaming about it, like, saying it's not, you're not doing it for any reason other than you love it, Right. But when the money got introduced to it and you saw a Jay-Z, for example, that I used to get haircuts in the same place he used to get haircuts, you know what I mean? You're like, he made it. Why the fuck can we make it? Or and so it really became a get rich quick scheme. A culture of people, saying kids going into record companies with, with demo tapes and shit, like continuously. Obviously, you've seen videos of them throwing a bunch of tapes out. You know what I mean? Like it was kids, shooting their shot. When it became easier to make music, you know what I mean, that you didn't have to go in the studio. By that time, music was already really, really, really big. You know what I mean? So you really couldn't really try to go into a record company and try to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that was never going to happen. It didn't even happen before. It wasn't going to happen then.
Even man.
But I think what like it's pretty much the same reason why people in Europe, they say that people in Europe love hip hop more than people in the United States love hip hop. Well, they weren't there from the very beginning.
No.
They didn't like they didn't appreciate it because it turned into more of a money thing. Bro, we're cursed. We're cursed.
Right, we had Jordan,
Talk to
we
people.
had Dr. J, we had Jordan, Dr. J, and now LeBron James. Like we had so many important people. I don't even understand how anybody watches basketball. Like we have so many important people. Like we're the benchmark of what basketball is to the entire world.
Bro, you know how many
Our bench is not the same bench of the rest of the world. Just ain't.
Dog, you know how many basketball players play a year in an NBA team? There's about like 360 something basketball players, NBA basketball players that have a job every single year.
Right.
That's including the
300?
360 something.
Right.
Saying,
With all these teams, all these arenas, all the capacities.
and your shot is this small to make it.
It's not even
You know what I'm
fucking
saying?
big at
It's
all.
ridiculous. So it's a get rich quick scheme. The same for the hood. The same way that
Rapids.
that hip hop is. But what's pretty dope, and what I tell everybody that's kind of really just stuck trying to make it and not just making music. There's a difference from someone that's really just, they're not trying to make it. They just can't stop making music. They're just gonna keep on making music.
Let me tell you something about making
You know
it.
what I'm saying?
No, let me tell you something about making it. And I'm gonna cut you off. And I know that's obligatory and belligerent. Let me tell you what making it is. I came down from Kansas City to my hometown, in which I grew up with, and I felt an affinity and a connection to, of which I don't feel like nobody else could ever fucking say that they have an affinity and connection with. I met your ass. I seen what you were doing. And I respected what the fuck you were doing. It was that big to me. When I tell our story, I'm fucking telling your story. Not because you owe me anything, not because we just robbed a bank together last week, or because I'm supposedly supposed to do it. I'm telling your story because when I grew up here, I know the people who fucking did it and who didn't. And that's how dope what you were doing, coming back, reunion with my fucking town. And how dope that was for our city to have what we deserved. A person that actually gave a fuck enough to tell their whole story. Talk about the art. Talk about the dancing. Talk about the DJing. Talk about the MCing. Talk about all of it. Even if nobody shows up. That's not important. The accolades aren't important. The fact that you had the courage enough to do it despite all the odds. We're fools on paper. There's no reason why we should do it. We're fools on paper. But in the streets, you're going to go down as one of the legendary contributors to our story. And you ain't even from here. And that should speak volumes to anybody that's from here. And it don't matter where the fuck you from. If you believe in us, we believe in you. You got our back, we got your back. You don't give a fuck about what side we from. We don't give a fuck what side you from. You don't give a fuck about whether we rap like this or we don't rap like that.
No
We
borders,
give a
baby.
fuck about you, bro.
No borders. Yo, Rome. Yo, just so you know, dog. I've been out here before the 408 was built. I used to play on the 408, dribbling my basketball, dog.
Talk your shit, nigga.
Yeah,
Talk your shit.
Yeah, dead
Talk
ass,
your
man.
shit.
Say like my grandparents lived out here. I'm telling you, since the late '80s, I watched this whole place grow. I've seen the orange groves turn into fucking Walmarts. You know what I'm saying, dog? So whether my hip hop is not from here, I have
No,
a
no, 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 no. I
I have
was
a
talking. I
humongous
just want to dedicate
yeah.
that
No, no,
moment.
but I appreciate that. I
I
totally
want to dedicate that moment to
I
your
feel
heart,
you. I feel you. I
to
thank
your
you.
commitment.
I thank you. I thank you because it's being recognized, and you know what? Not too many people recognize it, but I don't care. I don't do it for nobody else. I really do it for what I do. You know what I'm saying? There's
Can
a
you imagine? I was gone for 12 years in Kansas City, Missouri. Shout out to all things Missouri. And I was watching my home, which I grew up. I was a gnat. I was a mosquito. I was a gator. I was everywhere.
I felt the same way about New York City, dog. I came over here and I didn't know nothing about over here. All I knew about was New York City, and then of course the internet was a thing. So you start seeing, your friends and
Right.
families moving on and doing all this dope shit. But I don't think I'm a dope ass nigga, dog. I'll be honest with you. I hate to toot my own horn, but I'm a
You
do
don't
it.
need a tutor because I'm a tutor for you,
I'm a
nigga.
do
Like
it.
I
I'm a do it. I like doing dope shit.
no, but
I'm not a
it
mediocre dude. I'm not a
requires a
mediocre
amount of
MC.
courage,
You know what I'm
man.
saying, dog? Like
That shit
no,
requires a amount of courage. It's
man.
not
You know what I'm saying?
shared,
Dog,
or
let
it's
me tell
not
you something, dog.
understood amongst
I don't,
others,
I
man.
don't, I don't write rhymes, and you know, what I'm saying, Dr. Seuss it. You know what I'm saying? I fit syllables. I understand that syllables make bars and shit. You know what I'm saying, dog? Like I get intricate with shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's not, and that's just the beginning of my creativity. You know what I'm saying, dog? From barbering all my life, dog. Nobody taught me how to cut hair, dog. I taught my damn self. YouTube wasn't around. You know what I'm saying? I've been cutting hair for over 30 years. You know what I'm saying, dog? Like, I learned all of this shit by my damn self. You know what I'm saying? Trial and error, trial and error. People, I always tell people I'm not an artist because I don't paint. My brother's an artist. My brother George. I've been around artists all my life.
Nigga, what the fuck do you
You know,
think cutting
and
somebody's hair is?
that's
You
that's
spray
what I'm getting
painting
at.
with
And that's
fucking clippers.
before you cut me off, and that's what I'm getting at is that all my life I looked as an artist. I looked at an artist as an artist that knows how to draw. Never in my life I looked as an artist that actually can create the things that I can create. So the only thing that I can't really do as far as creating obviously one of one of the things is drawing, bro. Is drawing
You
and
draw niggas' heads all day, nigga. If you
not
talk
and
about
no,
you a
no,
barber,
you know,
you a drawer.
that not say not to you know that's I think that's one of the reasons why I do this no border show. Let me tell you something, Ron. I wish I didn't have to put it on, and I wish I could just watch it.
I'm right
I
there
wish
with you. I'm right there with you, bro.
I just wish that I would have came in to
That's
Orlando
why niggas like me and you are
and we
talking
were
right
here.
now so that we unite. You didn't realize the power that you had, just like when I came back, I don't realize the power I got. But most motherfuckers don't realize the power they have together. And that's where the power really starts.
You know
When
what,
we
man?
start,
I read something this morning, and actually it said that I even said it to myself, and I can't remember it. You know what I'm saying? But it's good it's good to be it's nice to be good, but is good to be better. You know what I'm saying? And what it meant was kind of like, we can be better all together. You know what I'm saying? You could be good, and yeah, that's cool for you, but saying we
nigga, why you don't think
yeah,
I wasn't
you know?
anticipating this conversation between me and you? Because this is a conversation we would have had if I didn't have this show.
Yeah,
At some point,
you're
we
right.
were going to talk
You're right. I
with
felt
each
I felt
other.
the same way. I'm gonna tell you, I felt the same way when we first met. I knew that you were someone that was not on my level, but on the level that a lot of us are on, that we all want to connect with, as people that can share the same exact things and shit. You know what I mean? Share the same feelings about certain things. You know what I mean? The same passions, bro. I'm gonna tell you something, though. if my wife had to come in today and be like, "Yo, you're talking too loud," because she hears me on the phone. She's like, "You're talking mad loud," and everybody says I talk real loud because I'm really passionate when I talk, especially
You
about
already
something.
know, bro. I'm threatening
You
when
know what
I
I'm saying?
fucking speak loud.
You know?
When you're alpha and you believe in what you believe in, you can't take apologies for being a shark. Like I'm a shark, you're a shark. We're lying. You're lying. I can't apologize for being what I am. I can apologize how I look in my peripheral and what I view you as. You may not be my prey. You might be right about that, but I'm not gonna apologize for being what the fuck the Lord made me. A
Nah, no,
lot
you
of
know what?
us are in that fucking crossroads.
I've had to learn. I've had to learn to be me, bro. You know what I'm
To
saying?
be
To
you,
be me. You know
to
what I'm saying?
celebrate you.
Yeah, and there were times that I had to feel like I even told my wife, I can be very opinionative. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So
you're an alpha. I
and
know you're an alpha. You're
and
not a passive
and
motherfucker. You're an
I
alpha.
thought, yeah, I thought at one time that I had to change that,
Nah,
when
fuck
I
all
did
that.
change it, it felt very weird and it felt me. So I'm here to stay. Fuck a motherfucker. You
And
know what I'm
fuck
saying?
all that, man.
Yeah.
An artist got to draw. He's a representative of people that have no voice. See, what we forget about the people we beat up on a regular basis and tell them that they ain't shit because they got a voice, we don't realize who they're speaking for. They're speaking for the people that ain't got no fucking voice.
Yeah.
That would never in a million years step outside that box.
Yeah.
And they're not to be judged for that.
You
It's
know
just
what?
not their job to do.
I put this show together and I promote it, and one of the ways I promote it, again, I'm a barber. I promote it to my clients all the time. You know what I mean? A lot of them are hip hop heads. A lot of the majority of them actually are not. But
Right.
they like drinking. You know what I'm saying? They like drinking and they like art. So I always pitch it to them and say, listen, dog. You like to go out. If you're going out this weekend, I have an art competition. And then I sell it to them and be like, I'm the host. I talk a lot of shit. You're going to love it. You know what I'm saying? And they'll be like, all right, I'll see it. And I'm going to tell you something. When they do come out, you know, I've had people come up to me and be like that try to do shows and stuff in the city and be like, who are all these people? Because I don't never see them in in regular hip hop shows. And I'm like, because that's not where I'm gonna tell people, those people are already gonna come. You know what I mean? I already know them. I already invited them. I want people that do not know about the show to come. You know what I mean? We did the
Well, that's
show,
why that's why we're doing the show tonight, brother.
yeah, all
Because
day, man,
we
all
we
day.
build we build it, me and you, from this point on. And let me tell you something, man. And like I said, I respect your grind. I know how important your grind is to our motherfucking city. I
Yeah,
do.
man. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now. It's been 2 hours, man. I haven't ate dinner. I gotta go eat dinner with my wife. But
You
you know
already
what?
know.
But I'm doing it. I'm doing it, dog. You know why? Because I feel like you know, you're wrong, man. The word is important. The word is important. You know what I mean? And
You're my last guest, if I'm being 100 tonight. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in tonight. You're my last guest for the foreseeable future. You're the season finale. I wanted to have my people, mi gente, on
oh,
tonight
awesome,
to
bro.
recognize what we are doing for the city in a real way. Our biggest work is not in public. It's us communicating to one another and describing how we can do everything united and open up this city united. Most businesses open up or promote their grand opening as a communal grand opening. They never promote any grand opening by themselves
Yeah,
because that makes them become a target. We should be in the mindset of how can we bring all of these business online at the same time because we're deserving of it. We're not taking away from any one of us by doing it together. In fact, we're making the statement bigger than what it's supposed to be according to the narrative.
Yeah.
We need to start breaking the narrative. We deserve it. You deserve it. I respect what you've done in this fucking city. We support you as a show, as a city. I'm not a podcast, man. I'm bigger than that, bro.
I know.
I don't feel that shit is even representative of all the things that we've gone through as a city. We deserve our story to be told. It's about our voice. And a lot of us ain't telling our fucking story because we scared of that motherfucker over there. And we deserve our story to be told.
Let me tell you something, man. Just like you said, it was beautiful too, what you said earlier. You know what I mean? And I don't think the culture is and the I don't think that no one followed the culture that you guys started as far as saying, fuck a venue and just rent a hall and we're doing it over here. You know what I mean? And things like that. When you take away from the people, the vultures that are doing it for their own, um, their own agendas. When you start doing it for yourself and for your own culture, it makes it a lot more special saying you get to open up a lot more eyes. You know what I mean? So you don't really need a fancy nothing. You just need the people.
Your people.
Enjoy it.
Your people.
Yeah, that's
all of our people. Your people, my people.
Yeah. Yep.
All of our people there to be present in what is important. And at this moment is we're going to tell all of our stories. You know what that is for a lot of people, man? We are all animals. We all fall short of the glory. We are all imperfect. And anytime you can show an example of us all coming together despite all that and just tell our fucking story and celebrate it as real as it could possibly be, whatever the fuck it is. Maybe it's packaged meat. Maybe it's fresh meat. Maybe it's the whole fucking smorgasbord. We live in a world right now where everything is based on money. You can't be involved if you ain't got no money. You can't be involved if you ain't no fancy car. You can't be involved if you don't do this or whatever. Like we live in this world where there's all these ultimatums on what you should bring to the table. But at the end of the world, man, at the end of the day, man, I represent love, man. I represent what our people should be about, man, and that should be about love and the beauty of it all. It's the imperfections. All of our people that we ever celebrated in life fell short. They fell short.
No, you know what, man?
Nothing normal about them.
Bro, let me tell you something, man. And I meant to say this too earlier today when I saying before I came in the show.
Talk your shit, brother.
I learned a lot, man. I learned a lot through the music that I listened to through my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I modeled a lot of my life through the music that I listened to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It sounds kind of weird, but
talk your shit, brother. That's your
story. I can tell you. Like KRS One was a really big factor in my life. When there was a time that I had to write a Black History paper, and I actually wrote it on "You Must Learn." You know what I'm saying, dog? Like I did not get. So let me tell you something. I didn't. Eli Whitney, Haile Selassie. I didn't know those names.
You didn't know it, right?
Before I read that, and so then, and then the thing is that it was a little hard because again, there's no internet, so you don't know exactly the name that he's saying, but you're still looking for it, and of course, you find your Harriet Tubman. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to the Dewey Decimal System, which was our first internet of all time.
So when I tell you that that hip hop told me my religion was corrupt, You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When it told me that my president was corrupt. You know what I mean? It told me, like,
Your history was corrupt.
like for example, you know, drugs and all that shit. I learned through I learned through my family and through my fucking and through living life on Grove Street. You know what I'm saying, dog? Like the things not to do, I learned through that. The things to do, I actually learned through hip hop. And don't get me wrong, some of it was fucked up too. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, the biggest influence that we had, whether motherfuckers want to believe it or not, is you know what I'm saying, is music and movies. I mean, let's be for real. In all actuality, you drink Hennessy because of hip hop. You wear Adidas because of hip hop.
Jordans.
You wear Jordans because of hip hop. You wore Bally's because of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Gucci. You wore Gucci because of hip hop. You did not wear Gucci. You wore Gucci because of hip hop. You wore, you know what I'm saying, gold chains because of hip hop. You know what I'm saying, dog? So the influence was there, is always gonna be there. Our kids are influenced by it. You know what I'm saying, dog? Now whether you
And that's how powerful the truth was.
we're more
That's how
conscious
powerful,
now.
that's how powerful the truth was, because it was so blatantly like against the grain. Like you knew it when you heard it. Like you knew when you heard Chuck D, that wasn't a regular label.
Now here's the deal, and now as we got older, as we got older, you kind of realize that it was a system. You realize that in New York City, and I speak about New York City. I don't know about over
Okay.
here. I don't know about
Talk your shit. Talk
know,
your shit, brother. Tell your truth.
We were fed regular hip hop in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So when I say your native tongues was ruling the shit. You know what I'm saying? They were the prime music to listen to. The radio was playing it and everything. You know what I mean? Bro, you know what I'm saying? Drugs got involved in it, and money got
Drugs
involved
were
in it.
always involved.
No. I'm talking about in the actual lyrics. And they sold it to us, and we didn't notice that they were selling it to us until right now that we ate it the fuck up, and we call it influence. It wasn't total influence. It was actually brainwashing. You know what I'm saying? Because we weren't about that, dog. I watched UMCs go from blue cheese to fucking wearing hoodies and Timberlands, dog.
Right,
You get what I'm saying, dog? You know what I mean? Like they
shout
needed to
out to
sell
UMCs, man.
they needed to sell a record around the time that was the kind of music that was being sold. You know what I'm saying, dog? And that happened early in hip hop. You know what I'm saying, dog? So for me to notice that shit in my teens or in my early 20s, you know what I mean?
We all remember that moment where hip
Dog.
hop became Debo. We all like there was no like we didn't want to be anything but Debo. With the music, when it came to the music, like there was a part of that '90s where Debo ran damn near half a decade, because everywhere it didn't matter if it was from Queens, the Bronx, whatever. Everybody was telling this story about how they wanted to be Debo. We had Menace to Society. We had Boys in the Hood.
They sold it. They sold it.
It was incorporated. It was a corporated front, like on many levels. Who were trying to say the alpha was the shit.
Rome, I read this article one time, bro, and it was a shitty article, and it was hard to agree with it, but damn, it was, you know, saying, you had to kind of agree, and it was the 10 albums that messed up hip hop, that fucked up hip hop, know, and
which one is that?
Oh my goodness, they're some of your favorite albums.
The Chronic didn't fuck up shit, man.
Huh?
The Chronic didn't fuck up shit.
Yeah,
that was already the sentiment.
I think the Chronic, I think the Chronic was in there. Ready to Die was in there.
Yeah, right. Which ain't the truth.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna explain something.
How old are you? No, first of all, before you explain anything, how old are you?
I'm 46 years old.
I'm 47.
Yeah,
We're similar in age.
I'll be
So
40.
we were there, right? So
I'll
we
be
were
47
there.
this year.
We were there.
So I can tell you I'll bring this right back to the conversation that I had earlier. My favorite artists were De La Soul. You know what I'm saying, dog? You know what I mean? You know,
Speak your piece, brother.
I
Speak your
put
truth.
I put down that De La Soul album to rock out to motherfucking NWA, dog. To rock out to that shit. The street that's what was bubbling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what called me. You get what I'm saying, dog?
When you hear
I was living
VX1,
I was living in that moment. I wasn't gonna go drink a 40 in the corner with my boys and my Timberlands and listen to De La Soul. No.
when you talk about that year, because I know what you're talking about, and especially in Florida, when you're talking about that year, supposedly, Nothing But a G Thing was the biggest hit out. And they're right.
No.
Halfway.
No.
They're right halfway.
No.
Song that was rocking in the South
No, hold on, listen.
non-stop was Bitches Ain't Shit But Hoes and Trick. That beat, shout out to Dab, shout out to Corrupt. Like, yo, that fucking beat, it wasn't just a rhyme. The beat was memorizing.
But dog, that was the Chronic. That wasn't
Chronic.
NWA. I'm talking about NWA. It was NWA.
Okay, you talking about NWA?
It was
Okay.
NWA's album and De La Soul's album that we talking about.
Okay.
When the Chronic came out, the Chronic was very digital, bro. It had the sound was a lot clearer than what New York sound was. It was just I could only imagine they had the technology to do it. And over there, we still had people like Black Moon, you know what I'm saying, making music in their
Shout out to Black Moon, yo.
basement, you know what I'm saying, in their basement, and Wu-Tangs, you know what I'm saying, still making music in, you know what I'm saying, in their apartments, you know what I mean, like, that music came from there. The Chronic came from motherfucking $1 million studio, you know what I'm saying, dog? Like, I could only imagine. I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? But the clarity of that shit was unlike no other. It was like no other. It did not sound like regular hip hop, you know what I'm saying, dog? It sounded like, it was just, orchestra kind of, you know what I'm saying, dog?
That shit sounded like everything.
Dog, bro,
But
the
that
Chronic was different,
beat
bro.
Drop that
Chronic was different, bro.
beginning, like
Chronic
between
changed
the Chronic and Doggy Style.
Yeah.
Nobody was listening to anything else.
No.
Nobody.
You know what? They took hip hop by storm, dog. You know what I'm saying? I watched the Biggie thing recently, not too long ago, and they were talking about that era, and then Puffy was talking about it, and but I hate when they kind of mention it because we never looked at it. We were living this time, but we weren't making money off the music, so we didn't know. But we didn't look at it like the West Coast got it on the East Coast. We didn't look at it like that. We looked at it like that's dope ass music over there.
Right, and Snoop at that goddamn time. I don't ever remember in that era, in that time period, where I ever felt like Snoop ever wrote anything.
No,
like it just sounded like Snoop.
I thought he freestyled, bro.
Right, he freestyled everything.
Bro,
like
everything rhymed. Everything rhymed with
everything worked.
Snoop D-O-double-G.
Everything worked.
G, and everything worked. I mean, he rhymed everything with E.
Everything worked. Like every time, like, and I was there during that time. I remember what he sounded like. He sounded like us as kids being hungry, but there was a respect for the history of his craft, which was so blatant. Like he never came out like he ever disrespected OGs. Like he never.
No.
He never felt disrespectful.
I think
anyone that came.
I think that's also that gang culture too, though, man. That shit is really like, you do not disrespect an OG. Period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like New York City, everybody disrespectful to each other, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But like, that culture was bred for you to respect that OG. You know what I'm saying, dog? So I think
Shout out to Straight's Flow. He's on a check-in right now. He said, no, he wrote those bars. You damn right he probably wrote those bars. But there was a freedom in his approach to everything that stood out amongst everything.
You know
You're
what?
talking about format. I'm talking about independence. Snoop was the gate of the next movement. Dr. Dre was already dying. He knew that. But he needed the dog pound to kind of give him life. And they gave him that because that deep cover, that fucking Chronic, that Doggy Style, there would never be nothing made.
You know what's crazy, dog? I'm gonna tell you something, right?
Ever made like that. Ever.
People talk about people talk about West Coast hip hop, and even in Orlando, you know what I'm saying? People talk about West Coast hip hop, and to be honest, too, a lot of times the only West Coast hip hop that they really talk about is the gangster West Coast hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But in all actuality, nobody mentioned King T for shit.
No, you're right.
Nobody mentions hieroglyphics. Nobody mentions the alcoholics.
Because
you know what I'm saying?
You know why, right? Because they didn't have that Dr. Dre shit.
But
it would be like me saying, no. Can I finish?
Let me say something. I have to finish this. Go ahead.
There's no fucking way in hell that most of the MCs that we all respect,
my boy right there,
would ever be said without mentioning fucking Marley Marl. Like Rakim doesn't be Rakim without that Marley Marl. And most motherfuckers don't even realize that Marley Marl was right there.
Hold up. There's a really nice story of Rakim telling the time that he actually went to go record a song in Marley Marl.
Right.
Right?
It was supposed to be Freddie Fox.
And
it wound up being Rakim.
And this dude told him, and what he said, dog, you need to stand up and say that shit. And this dude said, nah, because I guess this dude was sitting down, you know what I'm saying, rhyming this shit, right? And the story goes that what's this guy's name? The bridge. Shan walks in, and hip hop is live at that time. Like it's a live sound. It's not a laid back sound like Rakim was. You know what I mean? Rakim hadn't came out with an album yet. When he came out with a song yet, they still recording this stuff. So Marley Marl is telling dude, tell him that he needs to give him more energy. And Rakim is like, no, this is how I want it to sound. You know what I'm saying? That song never came out.
For me, I'm just saying, for me as a fan, it don't matter whatever the fuck anybody says about Rakim. He's either the Miles Davis or the Thelonious fucking Monk of hip hop, because he wasn't moving on our wavelength. He wasn't moving on trends. He played the sax. Most of his rhymes were saxophone soloists. That I Ain't No Joke was a soloist. That fucking My Melody was a soloist. Paid in Full. That was a group effort, but it wound up being a soloist.
Rome. And I'll bring this back to the very first conversation that that I had about
Talk to me, brethren.
About hip hop is not ours. You know what I'm saying? That
it isn't.
It stopped being ours. You know what I mean? And I just speak for myself. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, buying these tapes and all that stuff. And there were only a small amount of people that actually did what I did. And I can imagine over here in Orlando, with your testimony, you know what I mean? That there was also a small amount of people that did what I did and what you did. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not to discredit anything that they did or that they listened to or how they got it or whatever. But the fact of the the majority of the people that were doing it and weren't doing it, it's a really big, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, man, that's not
It's,
fair,
it's
man.
really
Because you
big.
know what?
Well,
We
what I'm
always
saying,
speak about the Cool G Raps and the Big Daddy Kanes, and salute to them because what I thought was one of the greatest things in infamy was the ability to declare a declaration. Like Marley Marl was a genius. Like there's no way I cut off a Cool G Rap rhyme after I heard Men at Work. Men at Work is one of the greatest rhymes ever
but
written,
you know what's crazy?
right?
Bro? Can you say that? Could you have said these things when you first heard it? Because I'm gonna tell you something, dog.
No, when I first heard that fucking
When I first
album,
heard all of this music, I was not thinking, "Oh, genius! Oh, genius!" I'm thinking,
no, you're right.
"Dope,
But that
dope,
nigga
not dope."
said that nigga was rhyming. No. Shout out to Cool G Rap. Okay. And I know he had a list and he wasn't the cutest dude in the fucking Cold Chillin' Crew. So I honestly look at all of that shit and we got it. We get it. Okay. But that nigga said daily rhymes, here's the solution. Smoke is so bad, I'ma cause the pollution. I mean, the list goes on. He said, no, here's where I relate. I used to go to the Central Florida Fair every year because that was the only time we had a fair in our city. And the ride that we had, quote unquote, was the Himalaya. And the Himalaya, it didn't do no special shit.
It wasn't. It wasn't the real Himalaya.
No, the Himalaya, we always had a DJ, and that motherfucker would talk cash money shit. The Himalaya, that nigga said, "You want to go faster? You want to go faster?" And when that motherfucker said, "And the turntable spin like the Himalaya," I don't care whoever rhymed after that. I don't care. You're done. You're done.
Bro,
Now, I'm
saying
saying that. No, let me finish the point. I'm gonna let you finish everything you try to say. After that, this is how dope Big Daddy Kane is. This is how fucking dope Big Daddy Kane is. It wasn't enough that he did Raw. He was one of the first MCs from the East Coast on that Color soundtrack that wasn't nobody fucking with him or Cool G Rap on. Like they gave Marley Marl damn near the entire soundtrack, which was unheard of. That was L.A. It was an iconic movie, Colors, right? And I remember Gone Girl, Raw, and then that Cool G Rap on that side A. I didn't need to hear the rest of the album. I probably didn't listen to the rest of the album. I was stuck on those three for about 2-3 years. Like that Gone Girl, the way he was cutting that Gone Girl and that Raw, the way he came in on that Raw, RAW, a terrorist. Like we can't even hear that in a lyric right now. We can't even hear that.
First time I heard Warm It Up Kane was an ice cream truck. I was out I was at the fire escape.
I believe it.
I was out the fire escape, dog, and normally ice cream trucks at that time they weren't playing music, but that song had just came out, and the dude was what, and I remember that I thought that he was saying "fuck it up, Kane, fuck it up, Kane, fuck it up, Kane," and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck is this guy playing? This shit is crazy." And dog, you know what I'm saying? Like that same week, you know, this dude came out with this song. Yo, dog, we lived it. You know what I'm saying? So
we lived it. We were there, man.
I wasn't studying it. I wasn't studying it as I lived it.
It was just a feeling. Yeah, it was just a feeling.
It was just So there might be things like years that I have off. Not too long ago, I looked at a Wikipedia of the albums that came out in '92, and I was so it took me on a journey. It took me on a journey because I remember buying the majority of these albums actually when they first came out. You know what I mean? So, I'm looking at it. I'm just like, damn, the Common Sense album. I remember when I bought this, and I was really happy with it. The Future Sound, I think, came out of that year. And it was bullshit album. I didn't care for it, but Original Flavor, I think, also had an album that year.
Yeah, shout out to Original Flavor.
These are yo, bro. I'm gonna tell you something. Saying my brother and I, we still have a collection of tapes. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
still have them. I don't get rid of them. I actually got to look for a nice little record, little tape deck to rock them out with. You know what I'm saying? But we lived it. We lived it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't.
When I talk about what,
and it's not coming back. And you know what? Part of me, Rome. You know what's crazy, Rome, is that people try to recreate something that's never going to be recreated.
No, it ain't. And you're absolutely fucking right.
And what's crazy is that because they don't recreate it, it enables you to not create something else because you're trying to recreate something. I see people wearing old school shit. You know what I mean? Like, just to try to be like that old school thing. And I'm like, that old school feel is not there. You know what I mean? Like, you look cool as fuck. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? You totally look cool as fuck. And but we're not there no more. Now we have to figure out what's next, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we're not gonna figure it out because even while it was going on, i.e. Jordans, like the Jordans were the dopest thing, but they weren't even the dopest thing for the man that fucking rocked them. That nigga was bleeding. He was bleeding every time he played the game with them Jordans that everybody loved. And it wasn't until the newer Jordans came out, that he could actually rock them and play a game. But the older Jordans that he was rocking, they left nothing but blood blisters.
Yeah.
He was horrible during those games. He scored like a bunch of points and he won the game, but his feet were like disabled. Like we talk about it, like we talk about like dinosaurs, like he's superhuman, and most motherfuckers wouldn't have done that. But I remember the Magic game, and he wore those fucking Jordans. That there's no reason in the world he should ever wore those Jordans. They're horrible. They're horrible for me. I don't even play basketball. They're flat-footed.
Rome, you know what, man? I look to future. I look to the future.
Yes.
And I see like, for example, I see music events in Orlando, you know what I mean? And I remember having a conversation with someone, and they were picking my brain about trying to do a show. And I'm like, all right, well, if you're gonna do a hip hop show with rappers and music and vendors, then pretty much you're doing the same thing that every single person is doing. So right. I mean, which is cool. That's the theme or whatever. But if you want to do something different, then do something different. You know what I'm saying? Think of something different. There's tons of things. You know what I have yet to see over here, and I've heard that there was some, and I saw a promoter do it only one time out here that I seen it with my own eyes. Is a fucking DMC concert, bro. A fucking DJ concert, bro. You know what I'm saying? A DJ competition, bro. You know what I mean? Like, that's dope, yo. Why?
Yeah, well, we were the hub of that for a long time.
But why not do like I'd love to go see two DJs diss the shit out of each other on fucking record. They love it, you know what I'm saying? But I know what the problem is, of course, is that it takes a special kind of DJ to do that. That's someone that has to be bred to do that. You know what I'm saying, dog? So like, if that's a dying art, then somebody has to kind of revive that. You know what I'm saying?
To be fair to dying DJs,
not dying DJs, as far as battling each other.
Yeah, at the end of the day, there's the market is tight when it comes to DJs that don't talk. And we're a capital of DJs in so many levels because we got DJs that are skillful that can't fucking say a goddamn word on that fucking mic. Dope as shit, but can never fucking utter a word on the mic. And then we got DJs that might not
Well, I'm not talking
might
about
not even be the
each
most
other.
skillful on the turntables, but they can rock a mic. So there's a between the extremes, there's DJs that are like dope as shit that can keep a crowd, that can get people coming in,
Yeah.
and may not be the dopest in scratching, may not be the dopest in like doing a DMC battle routine, but there's a medium. And I think a lot of times we miss the forest for the trees. We want the forest so bad that we don't recognize the trees that are in front of us sometimes.
Yeah.
We got people here that are effective in what they do.
You
The
know,
graph artist is dope, not because they do bubble letters, but because they do details too. The graph artist is dope because they're able to tag as well as describe an entire city and what
you
they
know,
feeling at the time,
you know,
right?
I think that there's just there's a lot of untouched ideas. There's a lot of ideas that are only being pushed by a small group in
Right,
Orlando,
right.
and of course, and then people don't altogether push it because they're not part of it.
Right, Demon Man,
So it
Demon Man,
flops.
bro.
So it kind of flops. You know what I'm saying? And then what ends up happening is that another group wants to do the same idea and use the same artists to do it. Like uh a beat competition. There was a kid doing a beat competition and he was doing it and it was I thought it was coming out great, you know what I'm saying? But then
Right.
I saw a bunch of other little beat competitions that didn't involve him and I'm like, you know, you watered it down. You know what I'm saying? You know, but now don't get me wrong. I don't know if the other dude could have kept on doing it. I do not know. You know what I'm saying, dog? But I don't know because
I get
no,
where
and I'm
you're
gonna tell you
going with that.
that
I
goes
get where you're going with that
that goes
because
for
it's
you too,
important.
Lone. That goes for you too, man.
Demon,
You know,
Demon.
stay consistent, man, because you've been consistent. You know what I'm saying, dog? And the only reason why I know that the show is still going on is because you're consistent. You know what I'm saying, dog? So stay consistent. You know what I'm saying, man? And I know that it's not easy, bro. And I know that maybe if you can't do it every night, then you might have to tone it down a little bit or record whatever it is that you got to do to keep it flowing. But I know that the daily thing is not. It can't be easy. Our show, it started with only doing it once every 3 months, and that was enough. That was enough. You know what I mean, dog? Those 3 months were more than enough. Way too much, actually. But you know what? It was nice and spread out, and I was able to fucking do it. You know what I'm saying?
Let me
But
tell you something. From
the,
a nigga that
the,
never
the thing
the
is
nigga
hard.
that never ever thought in a million years I would be interviewing anyone outside of like what I already do. I'm in logistics. I would interview a driver. Hey, you got this truck. What are the specs? Okay, boom. You got this job. Like I once again, the gravity of it all is we are all Davids in waiting. We don't realize when we're Davids until we're Davids. Like I didn't even know I had to face Goliath. I just knew I was David, and now I got to face Goliath. So I, dude, that means everything. Let me tell you something, bro. If this whole fucking place burned down tomorrow, I'm never gonna forget what the fuck you said because that's everything. That's
Yeah,
everything,
man.
bro.
I mean, because what's crazy, I think, is that every positive meme or even positive person, saying that has done something in their life, they always tell you one thing and it resonates all the time is don't give up. If you give
Right.
up, you're never gonna know. If you give up, you're never gonna know. You know what I'm saying? So don't give up. Don't give up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? When you give up, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you give up because you know what I'm saying you feel like you've done what you wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Which is even better. You know what I'm saying?
And who knows? Who truly knows that, right?
And no, and you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy, dog? You know, I don't know how many people have watched. I saw a few of my friends and shit, even hit me up and everything. Um, Yo, I'm a barber. I talk to kids like you would not believe, bro. And I drop gems on them all the time, bro. A 19-year-old, a 21-year-old, you know what I'm saying? A 29-year-old that still doesn't know his way, you know what I mean? Whether it's, you know what I'm saying, whether it's pointing them in the right direction, whether it's telling them, hey, listen, just look this up. You know, these kids, they do not know. They do not know. When I was a kid, dog, I didn't know what direction to go, and nobody was telling me what direction to go. So I make it my business to point a kid in the right direction, bro, all the time, all the time. A young dude, anybody younger than me, a fucking older dude that I see that's not, you know what I'm saying, that could do something better. You know what I mean? Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. Somebody told me that I might have been a teacher. You know what I'm saying? In my past life or whatever. You know what I'm
Right?
saying?
Like we could have been a Krispy Kreme donut. We didn't know it. At the end of the day, like dude, everything you said, man, that shit is gold. That shit is real.
Appreciate you.
It will be recorded on record that when we talked about Orlando, it was affectionately. Um, you know, like I said, man, I appreciate everything you're saying to me. You don't even know you don't even know to have,
No,
but
I
you
don't. I don't. I
but yeah,
don't.
you're speaking the jewels to it, man, and that shit is everything, son. Let me
Thank
tell you
you.
something, man. That
Thank you.
shit
I
is
try.
everything,
I,
bro.
I'm gonna tell you something, bro. I try my best to fucking to impact, bro. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's you know what I'm saying, just try I don't know what people are going through in their lives, you know what I'm saying? And you even said it earlier, you know what I mean, man, before, you know what I'm saying, with your monologue, you know what I'm saying, is look out for people, you know what I'm saying, man, you don't know what people are going through, you know what I'm saying, dog, be as nice as you possibly can to people, you know what I'm saying, man. It comes back, you know what I'm saying, way more than anything else. And you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
growing up, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, I was a dick, you know what I mean? And you kind of learn that
We are the
you
same. We
yeah,
are the
you know
same.
what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying,
We are the same. We like to think that we're not to make sense of it all, but what don't make sense is that we are the same. That we are the people that we want us to be. Most of the time, we're looking for the heroes outside of ourselves when when we're supposed to be the hero of the movie at that moment. We're not supposed to be the hero of the entire movie. We're just supposed to be the hero of that moment. And most people don't want to do that. Just like when we hear about the stories of Jesus, it sounds so stupid and ridiculous. Who the fuck would ever want to go on a cross and get beaten with chains? Like that don't even sound human. The more human response sounds like why it gotta be me? I was just chilling with my dude and he had some wine and he had a cute girl over there and we were all clicking. We were all believing in what the fuck we believe in. And we were
to be
talking about you,
to be
and now
selfless,
you
right?
want me to fucking kill myself.
To be selfless, you got to be selfish, right?
It's right. And that shit is a whole next life. It's not the same language. It's not the same energy. And that shit is occupied by the most strongest of us all. And we don't know who's the strongest because that shit ain't got nothing to do with muscle. We don't know who's the strongest because it ain't got nothing to do with how pretty you are. We don't know who the strongest is because we don't know where the fuck the vicinity is. Is it desert? Is it city? Is it fucking what is it? We don't know half the time what that is. We like to think we know what it is, but that's like you to your earlier point, ego. The reality of it all is it's more is less is more. Like we really would have to put our shit up against anything coming. We would have to be acknowledgement of like the power of the poor and how the poor deals with it. Like we get crazy because we can't pay the light bill. They get crazy because shit. I ain't got shit, and you gonna judge me? You can't be nice to me. How you gonna be nice to God? And that's how God comes into the fray. I don't need to be religious. I just know how planets produce themselves. At the end of the day, I can't accept the sunlight without accepting the moonlight, without expecting the light from the earth. And I say the light from the earth, meaning like I can't love anything outside of this earth unless I love what's within the earth itself. What the earth done give me. The earth done rooted me. The earth done rooted my generation. Like, how can you love anything if you don't love what's already here? That don't make sense. And this idea that we have to make sense out of everything. It's so stupid. It doesn't acknowledge the vastness of the universe. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. We're all as big and as small as we pretend to be. We have a purpose, and maybe that purpose just is to be gravity. You ain't gotta dim. You ain't gotta be light. Maybe it's just gravity. Maybe it's just pulling somebody towards you and holding on to them as your moon for a minute so they can control your waves and how you fucking attack that shore so you don't fucking done your planet in less time. Maybe it's as simple as just like I ain't gotta be like Jupiter. I could be Venus, a motherfucker that they would have given up on yesterday. But for some reason, I'm second. I'm second, like the second brother, like the second fucking sister. Like, you know what I mean? Like we like to think of things too complicated, and maybe they're just not. Maybe we just need to think of ourselves as the third track on Michael Jackson's album. That third track ain't that bad on Thriller. It just ain't.
You're not the third song on Freddie Jackson's albums.
Right. You're not the third on Freddie. You're the third on Mike. On Thriller. Like, dude, like I would give everything. No,
you know what? Let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you, man. I think that everybody's life is their own journey. You know what I'm saying? I think that when you start measuring it to something that's not you, that's when you lose. You know what I mean? And I think everybody struggles with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Especially like with social media and stuff, and you are not you per se, but saying a person sees other people, saying doing better than them because they're posting better things and blah whatever it is, and it doesn't help someone's soft mind to watch what you know what I mean. So
right.
I think that you kind of like just be happy with where you're at, and that's it.
On the record. Right, but not being just happy where you're at.
Like for example, like I'm gonna give you a good example. Well, like I don't want to be the third song on Michael Jackson's record. I want to be the first song on my own.
The first song on Thriller is "You Want to Be Starting Something," and that record is fucking insane.
I get you.
No matter what time era it was ever played,
and that's beautiful for him in that era. But that has nothing to do with my first song on my album.
Right, but maybe it's not your album. Like, what's so dope about Quincy Jones is that Quincy Jones, that wasn't his album.
No, you don't understand what I'm trying to say. I'm using it as a metaphor of my own life. You know what I'm saying, dog? So
I got you. I'm drawing contrast around why.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? By all means, I'm just saying in all actuality, like be happy with your album. Be happy with your first, third, and second song on your album. You know what I'm saying, dog? You know what I mean? Because that's all you got. That's all you got. So I'm not gonna compare myself to the highest, and I'm not gonna I could look down on the floor and see the person that I'm stepping on and be happy about that, but I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help him up. You know what I'm saying?
Right. One of the realities of humanity is that help is like language. It is based on not only the giver of that help, because as a service, as creatives, we are forced. Shout out to Strange Flow because he was on the check-in. He's like, not forced. No, we are forced. You cannot have this greatest gift that you have in this world to interpret music, interpret art, interpret the things that you interpret that no one else has, that fucking communication, and think that you ain't finna serve. And God is gonna force you to serve in sometimes the conditions in which weren't appropriate to you. What you gave conditions to, and when we talk about unconditional love all day, sometimes those things are just given to you as they are, come as you are. And we don't accept that a lot of times because the world tells us, I mean the corporate world, I mean the mainstream world, the world says it has to be dressed as money. It has to be presented as this significant thing that can be proven to someone else if they retort about it. But let me tell you something, brother. I would have never fucking met you in a lifetime if you weren't doing something important. And that's how powerful my God is.
For real.
Like he never brought me around anybody that wasn't doing anything of significance in his life. And he didn't give a fuck if they were rich, and he didn't give a fuck if they were poor. He brought me around them anyway. And if there were any problems, it had nothing to do with them. It was more on me. It's my insecurities. Am I ready? Am I rich? Am I wealthy enough? Do I have the knowledge? Like, I need to figure out all these things. And God's like, dude, what are you doing? I just brought you to where you need to be. And you worried about all this other shit.
You don't even see. You don't even see. You don't even see that you're where you wanted to be.
I'm where I wanted to be, and didn't even realize that.
Didn't realize it, yeah.
Because of the purity test that we put on each other to divide us in a way that is not cohesive with our building of a pyramid. The rock is the rock. We got to carry that motherfucker how many times? How many years is for the stand? I'm not even going to be alive. Why should I accept those demands? Well, those demands are going to mean things billions of years after you're gone. And every kid born after that is going to remember your legacy. Now, I know that shit sounds dope. We could probably write about 12 songs about it. I know how many beats you already got built on that, right? And I could tell you, I'm going to mix and master that bitch, and we're going to put that shit out tomorrow on Orlando Records. Right? But as much as I would like to think that that's easy to comprehend, it ain't. And most people will rebel. Most people will rebel on a payment long term than they would on a short term. Most people want that short term gratification.
Yeah, I mean,
they ghost on the long term.
Yeah, dog. You're my wife. She'll tell you. I feel like I could do anything. I don't think there's nothing in this world that I can't do. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the only thing that limits me is time. You know what I'm saying? But there's nothing in this world that I can't do or that I could not have done when I was younger. If I wanted to be an astronaut, if I would have known that I could be an astronaut when I was younger, I would have been an astronaut right now. You know what I'm saying?
What's so dope about what you're saying is that we're only limited to the people that are crazy as us, or even more. Like, right? Like, we always are told how things need to be put in a box and to be sold as a product. But what we're not told is how things need to be crazy and so fucking over the top that the people that you become around, like the Googles, the Amazon, the Dogecoins, the Bitcoins of the world, that these people don't think on our same wavelength. They celebrate crazy. Like, everything that you were talking about was crazy. Because most people don't think that you say it normal. I get that. We're right there. But most people don't get that. You could be anything in this world that I understand. But most people respect that.
You know what's crazy is that that's something that you're told when you're a kid, but that's not something that you believe. You know what I'm saying, dog? I think you have to be crazy enough to believe.
You have to be crazy, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Because
You got to be
crazy.
crazy enough to believe. And you know what's crazy, that like even if you don't believe, act like you believe, because you know what?
You may not have any proof.
If you're gonna act like anything else in your life, you know what I'm saying? If you're gonna act like if you're rich when you're not, like if you're gonna act like if you're healthy when you're not, you know what I'm saying, dog? And you're fooling yourself, but meanwhile you're really not healthy. You know what I'm saying? You don't eat healthy. You're not the healthiest person. You know what I'm saying?
But maybe your mission isn't based on the regular ingredients that are provided by everything. Now, we live in a world right now, which I will agree with you all day, which is looking at the world a little bit different because we didn't have the information that they have. We weren't born with Google. We weren't born with smartphones. A lot of these people, if you take a smartphone out of it, like, they might not even know how to live. Like, we at least know how to live without it because we spent half our lives without it. Like, we spent half our lives without Google.
Yeah, but you know what though? We can't live in this world without it.
No, we can live.
Oh no.
We can live.
We can live. Obviously,
I don't know what that is.
All we need is food, water, and shelter to live.
Right, but we can live.
Yeah, if you want to get technical,
right? We can but it is technical.
But how many times a day do you leave your house without your phone for the whole entire day and want to go back to get your phone?
I respect mad niggas
You know
that say. I respect mad people that say like. I'll see this every now and then. Shout out to all my peoples on Facebook that do this. They'll say, yeah, I'm signing off on Facebook for a little while. I'm done with Facebook. I'm done with Instagram. I'm done with all of that.
Yeah.
I think we are the leaders of that, the OGs of that, because we grew up during a time in which we didn't have it. We accessed it. We know it. But we could go back to that. These kids right now, they don't know what it is to live without it because they were born with it. Well, it was just like us be born with hip hop. Like we were born with hip hop. We don't know any life without it.
We have this conversation in the shop about penmanship, right? And about yes. and I have this argument with my wife about penmanship, right?
Yes.
Kids need to write in script. You know what I mean?
Please believe me.
And I agree. I agree to an extent. Is it useless? It's useless to our future. It's useless to our kids. Our kids actually need to type more than they need to write with a pen. This is my opinion. This is my opinion.
Right. Because the words are more important. You said earlier the content. We're all in the business right now doing content. So content is always going to separate ourselves from this person and that person.
So what I'm saying is this, though. What I'm saying is this. We're evolving. You know what I'm saying? The world is evolving. You know what I mean? Right. Calligraphy and even just script in general. It's an art form, but it's not something that should be a curriculum in school. And my wife and I, we argue about that all the time. And the reason why I say that is because it's not used for anything in the future. It is creative and is great for your creativity.
The only reason why I'll disagree with you
is great for my daughter's creativity. I love the fact that she can actually do it. Will she benefit in the future from it? She will not benefit with writing script in the future more than she will benefit from typing 100 words per minute.
Shout out to Strange Flow. He said technology is not absolute. Need to know how to write. You're damn right. And the only reason I'm going to disagree with you as a fellow creative, because I know what it is to raise children and to drop jewels on them on a regular basis in which you didn't even know you were supposed to drop that jewel on them. but it just so happened to work out.
Let me tell you something, Rome. This is not our world.
It isn't.
Our world
No.
passed. Our time passed. Our time of learning certain things to bring us to this point, that passed already.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, we're trying to teach kids what we learned in the past that got us to this. That's not helping them. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know what's helping them in the future. You know what I'm saying?
Can I just say something, hermano? Can I just say something, hermano?
Let me say something. So how like, for example, you know, bro, there are kids making millions of dollars off of YouTube videos.
You damn right. We just
You know
watched the fucking fight last Sunday.
Who are you telling to fucking write script to?
Can I just say what I'm gonna say?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it from the most deepest place of wherever hip hop ever fucking lived for me. Okay. Our script, our hieroglyphics, our scribe, our scroll, is that important. I don't know if you could quantify that in your children, meaning, like, I don't know how we can pick out children in all of this, but I do know how important it is, because there's shows being developed, there's shows still being fucking scripted to this day, talking about ancient aliens, talking about we didn't do what we did in Africa because it was so goddamn dope. So the scribe is our diamond. It's our gold. It's our wealth. It's our story. I don't know who is in charge of the scribe. I don't know who the fuck is supposed to be drawing in script and who the fuck is supposed to be drawing in graffiti and telling that we was here and telling our story. I don't know who that is. I don't know who the fuck that is. But I do know that we should all know it so that there's no fucking zero opportunity for there ever to be a reason why we didn't do it.
You know, if we're gonna go back to Neanderthal times and we know it, then yeah, then we better start learning how to read a rock. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't.
We're still reading rocks. It's called the pyramids.
No.
We're still reading rocks.
I'm not saying anything about that. There's an archaeologist, obviously. You know what I'm saying? We know that. I get you. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like your kid will benefit from
of course, because
writing,
script is the only time that we are separate from one another. It's the only time where it's created to be separate from one another. Because when we're separate from another in this society and this conundrum that we've built for ourselves, we are separate on the wrong fucking thesis. We're separate based on skin color. We're separate based on this nigga's dick's bigger than this motherfucker, or this motherfucker has more money than this motherfucker. We're separated most of the time in their generation. As a fellow father, I know my children. I know what they're up against. I feel horrible for them, but I feel enlightened by them because, like, we were masters of our around surroundings, if you will. Like, we were able to navigate despite all the craziness that was going on, the crack era, the bullshit that was going on. Like, the fact that you're alive is a blessing. Like, you lived through the worst time in fucking history in regards to numbers. They were killing our ass with impunity. There was no laws to stop them from killing our ass. We had the entire fucking nation that was amplified on the ability of the crack era, meaning because this shit was going on, we could kill you, and we'll explain it later. These kids have more accountability, but they also have more things to understand, and so I feel for them because they're going to have to understand some of the things that we went through and how important the basic shit was. Like, they get the more complicated shit that we don't get, but a lot of them suffer through the basic shit. Like, why is it important for us to look at each other as people, regardless to whether we're gay or not. Like we watched in our lifetime how important it was for gay people to get their rights, how it was to define what trans is, and forgive where there was prior to being a male or a female and becoming a male or female. But we still haven't seen the moment in time in which it was somebody got sentenced for 40 years and what it was like to forgive them. Even though that person may not even have been the witness that made him guilty was not that person. Like, we're still in that state. Like, we're looking at ourselves as incomplete as a people because there's certain things that are being done based on technology, and there's certain things that are not being done because we talk about this all the time. Those simple ass motherfuckers, that simple ass shit. And if you know anything about history, man, you can't skip nothing. You cannot, because you're doomed to repeat it. If you skip even the least of these, you're doomed to repeat it. You're going to see it again. And we're still seeing the same things that we've skipped. You hear the argument all the time. We promote consumerism, but we don't realize our power in consumerism. We shut the whole bitch down. Fuck COVID-19. We are the COVID-19. We shut this whole bitch down and say, no, we're not spending another dime until you change this shit. Give us living wages, respect us as human beings on this planet, and don't necessarily just arrest us because you ain't got shit better else to do, and represent that as numbers, and demand that our cities, our counties represent us instead of these people that don't even live in our towns giving us laws that only affect us. They don't affect anyone else. They don't affect our housing market prices. They don't affect how many times we're locked up for bullshit reasons. We're part of the most plentiful resource in providing the power to the police. We're the only people probably in the nation that are okay with being taxed at our benefit, meaning we're locked up, we're ticketed, we're giving the most harshest prices, and I missed that meeting. I don't know where we said it was okay to use us to be okay with that, but we're the ones that are most targeted for that. So all I was saying for all of that is, like, we need each other. We need all of us.
Yeah, no, definitely.
We need all of us to get through this. And yeah, we're old, but we're not useless. We have a service to give to our people and our children and the young people. And we need to respect what they're doing because they didn't get that energy from nowhere neither. They got it from us. We don't recognize it because we're old. But they got it from us. That's the same energy we had.
You old.
Not yet, brother.
Stop calling me old.
Not yet, brother. Not yet. Not yet. Talk your shit, bro. Talk your shit.
No, man. When somebody died at 50, they'd be like, damn, he was young. When somebody died at 60, they'd be like, damn, he was young. Somebody died at 70, damn, he died young. When somebody died at 80 or 90, damn, yeah, all right, he was old, he could die. You know what I'm saying? Don't you notice that? Die 70 years old, you died 70 years old, you died young.
What tripped me up was the fact that they never hid that the sun was 1 billion years old. And if you needed any more proof on what immortality was, 1 billion years to us is immortality. Like, the fact that we even know that something lives, like the sun or the moon or the earth, they've been here way longer than we would ever want to be here. That they've been here should give you all the more proof that there's things that we don't understand or should understand. We should just do our fucking thing while we're here. Meaning, whatever God has brought to your life, and thank God it was art, my brother. You are doing your fucking thing, bro. And we're proud of you. We're proud of you as a city. I think that's fucking special. I think this show won't give it justice. I don't think us talking about it every day
Nah,
for the next fucking month will give it justice.
we just
I
talked a lot of shit
appreciate
today. But it was
I
funny.
I appreciate what you're doing for the city, given the history of the city. And if I can represent one more number in your cause, I'm right there, bro. Because it doesn't matter whether I was there from the beginning or not.
No,
I'm one more number to
no, man.
prove
You'll
that
be
you got power here.
you'll be one of the DJs, man, for sure, for sure, for sure. I'd love to have you with, saying, rock out at our show, though. Would love to, would love to. You already know the music we play. So there's nothing but '90s hip hop music, so you already know the playlist. I don't even have to
Well,
say.
it's beyond that, because that's an afterthought for me. But at the end of the day, I'm just telling you, my brother.
Yeah,
I'm citing your work.
thank you,
I know what you're doing out here, bro.
thank you. I
Um,
appreciate that.
I I don't want to feel like I'm all that, but I do feel like I could say in speaking about our city in a manner that's respectful that you are up there with a lot of people.
Thank
You
you.
brought in a lot of people that would necessarily not get shine otherwise. You brought in the artists, you brought in the dancers, you brought in
You know what?
chroniclers.
You know what? Just a little fact, man. I'm saying in the past 6 years, we've been doing the show. This is our 6th year. Last year, it would have been our 5 year anniversary, but it got shut down.
Yes.
And we were gonna do a big show at Lake Eola, which is something that was pretty much unheard of, as far as even for myself. You know what I mean? It was something unprecedented, something that I didn't think I could even pull off, and it was actually gonna get pulled off, and got sidetracked by the biggest thing that could ever happen in our whole entire, lives
Right.
for everybody.
Right.
So, but but in the past 6 years, we've had over 30, like 35 shows, and we've housed about like 76, 77 artists. You know what I'm saying? All new artists, like you know, um, a lot of them have done a show multiple times, but 76 totally different artists that we have given opportunities to. Um, a lot of them have flourished with those opportunities. A lot of them just do it just because they love to have fun doing it. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's gonna
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do
what
not do it.
what was that?
I'm gonna give you your motherfucking flowers
Nah,
right now, homie. I'm telling you, like you told me earlier, and it was tough to take. That was that Robitussin shit. I'm telling you, what you've done, even in the short time that I've seen you, and what the impact of what it would have meant for me as a kid growing up downtown. I mean, I'm talking about the accessibility of it all. I grew up downtown. We had none of it. They weren't trying to hear none of us niggas out here. There was no room for black men. Like that movie, no room for old countrymen. Like there was no room for us. Like they didn't want to hear from us. We were the rebellion. We were the revolution. We had an alternative speak, and our people got it, and the rest of the world didn't, and we were okay with that. And we had advocates, and power to the advocates. I'm gonna speak to all the advocates right now. If you know anybody that's going through some shit, and you speak up for them, and you talk your shit about them, and you let them know, like, hey man, we could have done a million things in this world, and this man is doing whatever the fuck he's doing, and I support him. As crazy as it is, I'm not even gonna tell you I understand him, but I got him. We need our advocates. We are absent advocates right now. We need our advocates in the city representing all of us, telling our stories in a real fucking way, saying, hey, bro, I know this nigga named Louis Rivera. He does the No Border show. This is not about him. It's about all of us.
Yeah.
All of us. We need those advocates. I'm about advocacy. I'm about people representing things that maybe they're not in the know to understand. Like we live in this world right now where everything has to be answered. Like God don't exist. Like the universe doesn't exist. You ever live on Mars, motherfucker? Then you ain't got the answer. So fuck you. How the fuck do you know the answer? You don't know the fucking answer.
Chill,
Yet
Sway.
you live.
Chill,
Yet you
Sway.
live. Yet you live. Like we need to believe in us. We're the closest thing to each other outside of mosquitoes and fleas and roaches. How the fuck do we not know that part about us? And I'm willing to give each other that on GP, on regular IP. Like this, I know, being a part of my squad, A squad, there's parts of your sacrifice that you're never gonna tell anybody in the fucking world, and you just ain't. That's what kind of cloth you cut from.
Yo, bro.
And you never. I know I'm going in a monologue right now, but you never are gonna tell the depths because you don't even have the language for that. But that's why advocates are important. When we hear about the media all the time. Yeah, the media that represents us right now does not represent us. But there was a time in the world where the media did represent the greatness of all of us. There were people that talked about us in a great way.
You're wrong. I think you froze. You froze, dog. Vets, do you see this guy? Is it still on, or can I get on? Can I go eat? I'm by myself? Yo, what's going on? This is the Soul Show with my boy Romy Rome. Yeah, you left me by myself, Rome. Bro, I'm gonna take over this show, man. Yo, big shout out to Rome. If you guys are still listening, anybody watching? Well, you know what, man? If you guys are watching, big shout out to Rome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It was very interesting. I'd love to sit back and kick it with you and build and rock out. Oh, he back, bro. I thought it was the Soul Show with Louis Rivera. I can't hear you, boss. Bro, I can't hear him. Can you hear me? I mean, well, can you hear me on the what you call that? Yeah, I just can't. What I gotta do here? You wanna leave? So I'll come back. Do you hear me, babe? Yeah. Can't hear you though. Can you see him? Can you hear him? Can't hear him, right? It seems like a lot of people watch though. What happened? Yo, what's going on? Yo, what's going on? Hey guys, I am done for the night.
Check.
Oh!
We got audio? Man, my brother. Come
Hey,
on,
Rome, listen, man. It was a pleasure. I was giving you a bunch of shout outs. I actually took over your show for a little bit. You know what I'm
Please.
saying? While you were gone, you know what I mean? I hope I did you right. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna go have myself some dinner because I haven't had dinner. And I totally appreciate this conversation. It was very insightful. Actually, you put me on to a lot of things in Orlando that I should have known already. You know what I'm saying? But I really respect it though, and I appreciate it, man. I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for having me in your
I
show.
appreciate you, brother. And I'm telling you, and anyone fucking listening, go out and support this brother right here. He's doing big things in the city. He's supporting the community. Anything I can do to help you, anything we can do to unite, we need to be better stewards of that. I'll accept my fucking fault on it. I didn't reach out to you quick enough and
No,
fucking
we good.
arrogant enough. And
No,
let's
man.
fucking continue to fucking make our connection more palatable
Yeah.
for our city.
Big time. Man, listen, bro. It seems like if you're the kind of guy that I would love to help me and me help you and help the city, and you know, there's a lot of things going on in our lives and stuff like that that we can help each other out with, even whether it's in the city or out of the city or in each other's lives. You know what I'm saying, dog? Just being in each other's lives and being able to share stories and stuff like that. I think to me is way more than enough than anything, bro. You know what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely, brother.
the city's gonna take care of itself, but we need to take care of each other. You know what I'm saying, man?
That means everything, homie.
For
I
real.
know the people that tuned in tonight feel you on many different levels, probably
Thank
got
you.
closer to you than they probably would have had they not heard this
That's cool.
conversation.
I appreciate that.
But in reference to us, man, we have a responsibility to connect, to give an example to our people coming up under us to do better. And we can't tell them to do better. We got to show them how to do better, and
Yes, sir.
we got to start erasing some of the fucking generational fucking bullshit that we accepted growing up, and
Yeah.
tell them there's a new way, and we feel you,
Yeah.
like all we got to do is just kind of connect and say, you know what, I know this man, he's a plumber. I know this man, he's a carpenter. I know this man, he's a fucking roofer. Before we know, we got a house. And that's what we got to look at it like. Like we're all in this to try to make a house of hip hop for all of us to live. And I respect you, brother. You're always welcome on the show. And thank you. Thank you for everything
Thank you,
that
bro.
you do for the city, brother.
Let's keep building these buildings to build other buildings, brother. Thank
Yeah,
you.
man. Hey, give it up for the
Have a good night.
legendary
Have a good
Mr.
night,
No
everyone, man. Thanks for
Borders,
tuning in.
Luis Rivera in the house, representing Orlando. You already know what's up, man. Let's go. Old Town, what's up? Hey, man. I alluded to this in the beginning, but I'm gonna say it tonight due to personal um, circumstances, financial circumstances. This will be the last show for the foreseeable future. Um, if anybody wants to reach out to me to figure out a way to continue this moving forward, I'm all ears. I've had an honor to talk to so many people across the globe that I never thought I would talk to and be an advocate for. Um, it's probably the hardest thing that I do that I'm going to do because I didn't know that this would be the moment in which I would do this, nor did I know this would be the moment in my life where I would be that person to have to to stop something that I was already doing. But I want to thank everybody that supported the show. I want to thank everybody that took time out of their lives to listen to the stories of their people, their neighbors, their city. This means everything to me, believe it or not. I will be working hard on a solution moving forward, but at this time, the show will be shut down for the foreseeable future until I get my personal and financial situations moving forward. I love all of you. Thank you for all the time that you spent in listening to us as a collective. And I'm not the answer. I'm just a part of the answer. I'm just thankful that I was able to contribute in this moment of contribution. I thank all of you. We're not done by a long shot. We will be back. I just don't know when we will be back. And thank you. Our sponsor of tonight is Jesse Jazz. Not only a great promoter, great DJ, but a great graphic design artist in the city. And he will continue to do his thing way after we are buried. But I love all of you guys, and I've been honored to be an advocate for my people in the city. And for right now, this is the last show of the Sound of Orlando show. Thank you all. Thank you for representing. Thank you for involving yourself in what we do. And I thank you all. We will continue this show moving forward. And thank you.
I grew up around here, 5 minutes away. Langford Park, Reese Terrace is where I played. Albert Junior High, that was up the street. While we were using our feet, we started using the beat. We were called two-tone, I was one MC with two DJs, Jay, my nigga T. We thought we was invincible as you could believe, but we were kids being kids. Living in the 80s, thought we were grown, but the world was very different. Lights came on, these streets, they would evict us. Sent back home to not become statistics, but some couldn't miss that leg, and so they fell down. No pops around, but the shots around. We gave it all, but couldn't afford more bound. Some applaud now, but never knowing how we made it up out of there without doing a bit. Wow, our city, the place of where I come from, that old shit story ain't my glory. Tell me what that sound like. It's just me. The city beautiful. This is my story.
Orlando has long been known as the City Beautiful, also known as the City with a
Sound. Live on stage.
The sound.
Up Orlando!
Show. Is they ready?
You mean to say that's the best you can do?
Hip hop is something you live.
Almost anybody could do better than that.
You know? Okay, the sound of Orlando!
Show.
Knock this down like it's supposed to be.
On your FM dial.
Yes, this is to turn the whole this up.